Today it's January 25th, 2025, and I am having a Zoom meeting with the Philippine teacher applicants. And it looks like Verlin is already here. And Jennifer. Welcome, Jennifer and Verlin. Sorry that you had to wait and had to restart. There you are. Jennifer, I've seen you before, haven't I?
This is my first time to join.
Well, thank you for
And
coming on. Where are you from in the Philippines?
I'm from Pangasinan.
Pangasinan. Okay. Is that Tagalog or Cebuano or Visayan?
No, it's in Luzon. We have a Pangasinan dialect.
Ah, okay. So is that totally different than Tagalog?
Yeah, it's different from Tagalog, but we can talk Tagalog also as well.
Okay. Can you say good morning or good evening in the
In
Pangasinan?
masantos sa kabwasan at si kayon amin, or masantos na labi at si kayon amin.
Wow, that's totally different than Tagalog.
For,
Magandang gabi.
if you're familiar with Ilocano,
It's very,
ganun,
wow. Yeah. See, we have
there are
88 languages.
barrios here.
Yeah, we have 88 languages in the Philippines, so
Yes.
maybe more. But anyway, that's interesting. I do not know it. I know
Mhm.
Tagalog, of course, Cebuano. I'm
It's
from
from
Cebu. Yeah, I'm from
Region 1 Central Luzon.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cebu is my town, and in fact, my family lives in Lapu-Lapu, which is 10
Oh,
minutes from Mactan Airport. Yeah. But I've been in America 38 years, so
wow.
only 19 years old when I came here and went to school here.
Mhm.
So
That's nice.
yeah, retired as an educator, as a teacher for 15 years and about that much on as administrator. So, and then now I'm consulting after I retired in 2016. So I've been a consultant now for 8 years.
Thank you for your help for us Filipino teachers to land a teaching job there in USA. And I've been following your links, applying all those states schools. And as of now, I am in the state of West Virginia.
Virginia. Okay.
From
Have you gotten
from
a,
A to Z.
oh,
From A to Z, you have collected schools by states, and I have started from A. Now I am in West Virginia.
whoa, you're really up there. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Wow.
And because I was devastated last year because I got a job offer in Maryland, but then only to find out that the school is not allowed to hire Filipino teachers. Uh, it was giving me a false hope. I was devastated, and
I'm sorry.
I've my school here in the Philippines offered me a 3 months leave because they thought I would be leaving, so that I have enough time to apply all of those school while I'm
Wow.
on leave for 3 months.
You have a good school.
And
You have a good understanding administrators there. That's very nice to have.
yeah, they are understanding. But now I am back to school because I wasn't able to
To
fly
get it.
to fly in USA in 2024.
Wow.
It was really devastating, but I have to move on.
Yeah. Well, very good. Thanks for your patience. What you need to do next time is double check with me if because I have a contact, Glenn. He could check with for us if a school is gonna be able to do J1 visa or not. He has that information. He could actually tell us. So if you ever come that situation again, you let me know and we will
Yes.
Glenn figure it out. So anyway,
Thank you.
yeah, so
It's a
you got your
pre
paperwork done then. You got your paperwork.
uh,
Sounds
no, no. It's Prince George County Schools in Maryland, and
There's
only
a
to
private
find
school.
out. Yeah, public. I was hired at Parkdale High School, so I thought it was a public institution, and they had given me a job offer with all discussed with me all the salaries, and I am already in the process of visa, which I have contacted Greenheart for as my visa sponsor, and then I thought I was on the last step, and I even told them that I'm still in the Philippines, and when they asked me when I will arrive in their school, I said maybe October this year, and they said it's okay. And when the visa sponsors tried to contact them, they no longer respond, and only to find out that they are not allowed to to hire international teachers because of there's a case before way back in years. They are banned to hire international teachers as of the moment.
I didn't
It's
even
all
know.
in the internet.
Wow, I didn't even know that there are schools at Barnes. So that's a good idea to also Google it, huh?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
out of my curiosity, I googled it to the internet, and yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
have read their case way back, and I thought that maybe it was 10 years ago. And I have also talked some of the teachers that are working there, and then they told me that case that I thought they thought that the ban was lifted, and then how come you get a job offer, and but our school district is not allowed to hire international teachers. I thought the ban was lifted already.
what was the ban about? What was the reason?
It's because of they are selling H-1B visas. It was supposed to be free.
Yes,
It was supposed, correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Merlina. It was an H-1B visa. It was supposed to be free for the Filipino teachers, but then some, uh, some personnel was selling it to the teachers. And,
that's wrong because H-1B visa, if they are the sponsors, they're supposed
mm,
to handle 100% of the expenses for the visas. So
yes.
that is that information is correct. They're not supposed to do that. J-1 visa, teacher exchange visa, that's when teachers can actually pay some or all of it if
Mhm.
if the school just cannot afford it. J1 will allow that, but not H1B. H1B
Mhm.
has to be shouldered by the school or
By
whatever,
the
whatever the
school.
sponsor is.
Yes.
Yeah, the sponsor is. That's why it's the best for the Filipinos to get the H1B, but it's very rare for schools to offer
Mhm.
that because a lot of times they will like try you for J1 and then if they really like you, they may, after you met the requirements, they might, hire you again as H1B because they want
Yeah.
to keep you. But J1 is usually a common one that they would use because it's so fast. You're here
Yeah.
by, a month, 2 months sometimes, so J1B is usually what the default is, but there are very, few there that I would actually, be desperate enough or want to keep the teachers for a long time that they would do H1B. But yeah, that is something that they need to remember. They cannot have the teacher pay for it if it's H1B because they will get in trouble. And that is a good example. So yeah. So I'm sorry you had
So,
to go through that. That what a painful
yeah.
experience.
Yeah, it's really painful for me, and I have to move on. And after that incident, every time I will have an interview, at the end of the interview, I'm asking if the school is familiar with J1 visa, or if they sponsor H1B visa. I always ask that at the end of the interview. And
Very good.
some schools might not. We're not yet familiar with that, but we will ask our district about it, and we will inform you right away. So I will so I will not give my hope 100%, and then upon they will email me back, and then move to the next one,
Yeah.
move to the next
Well,
school, apply.
that's a good question to ask also, but
Mm.
you can also ask it another way, like have you hired Filipino teachers or international teachers before?
Yeah,
So based on
I used
yeah,
to.
yeah, based on their answers, you may be able to, but then you have to Google them, I guess, to see if there's
Hmm.
any band like you did on this particular
Yes.
example. Yeah.
Or
So sad.
be, before interview, I will Google it if school district is hiring J1 visa, or if they are allowed to sponsor H1B visa. Those are the things I learned from that incident.
Yeah, very good. Do you have that important links information, that document that I always send, for folks that would send me the resume and cover letter, and I send you that document with all the links? You must have
Yes, I
gotten
have.
that. Yeah, you got that one. Yeah, those schools I have checked that they should be okay. Have you had any interview lately, like after the 2024 experience?
Yes, I have. I probably maybe 2 days ago that was in Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
Czech elementary school.
Mm-hmm. Did it sound promising? Did it
Uh,
sound like you might get it?
na, as far as I know, I forgot to ask if they are hiring Filipino teachers, but then maybe I will be the upon looking at their Facebook page, all their teachers was there was no Filipino teachers from the faculties from the faculty.
Yeah, but sometimes it might be their first time experience. So if that is the case, make sure that you share my information with them because I
I,
provide free help to them. I don't charge
okay.
them for that, but I can help them. But anyway, the only time I would charge is if they ask me in person to come. That's when I
Mm,
charge. But just a Zoom or phone or whatever, your email, I don't charge for that. So
yeah,
make sure that you tell them that, and I don't mind helping any of the schools that are wanting.
from your links.
Yeah, yeah, any of
Thank
those.
you so much
No,
for that.
even other schools that's not on my links because how I pick those schools, I've actually visited their websites and search the top 20, usually the top 20 or the top 10 if it's small state. And that's when I found out. So I have visited every one of those links. I have visited their website. So I felt confident that it should be okay. But you never know. I've missed something. But as far as I know, I don't, there have been no problems on those links. So anyway, well, thank you for sharing that information because that is something that I didn't even know that there are some schools that have been banned because of
Yeah.
this kind of thing. So, yeah, so I didn't know. I really did not know what consequences schools or organizations get if they would do that, if they have the teachers pay. If they are doing H-1B, they're not supposed to charge the teachers, and if they do charge, they get banned. Good, good,
Mhm.
good information. Giselle
It
just
was Prince George County Public Schools in Maryland.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope that not very many teachers would have to go through that painful experience that you have.
Yeah. We
You know,
have it's not only me that I was interviewed, but the only thing is I am the only teacher that who got a job offer. All of my fellow teachers who've been hired in that particular school district, they did not continue with the a job offer, and then they are stopped because the upon interview it was promising. They asked me to sign the HR agreement form, and after that they will forward it to the HR, and the HR will contact you and sign and ask me to sign 15 pages new hire packet. So I was really overwhelmed
yeah.
through the process.
Wow. Yeah, they sound very forward about it, but
Yeah.
yeah, that is a learning experience for you and for others to know
Yes.
that that's happened, and that's kind of scary. That's not
Yes.
experience, but
And
good for you though that you continue you did not get discouraged and you continue your journey, to
yes,
get.
it was my dream.
Yeah. So I
It's
hope you
my
do get
dream.
it. How many years? Or tell me more about yourself if you don't mind.
I am Jennifer Gomez, a licensed professional English teacher here in the Philippines, and I've been teaching 8 years in the public service, the public school. I've been handling in our school. It was a big school. Our population is more or less 10,000 students per school year, and per classroom we are handling 45 to 60 students, and we have six loads in a day. And some I have students who are disability who have disabilities. What I do is inclusive education, and currently I have I am currently enrolled in a I'm currently enrolled in a masters in education, major in special education, and I have done my master's degree in language. By the way, Miss Dr. Marlena, I am a unit earner of education. I am not bachelor in secondary or elementary graduate. I am a bachelor of arts in English graduate, and took up
Gosh,
30
much
units.
education. You have been
Yeah.
educated a lot.
And if I think at the beginning of my application, I think it was a problem that I am not a 4 year graduate of education. But then I have uh I have units in education. I have 30 units in education, including practice teaching, and took up my master's degree aligned with my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And now I am currently pursuing a master's degree in special education. I already have we're in I have 24 units already, and I think with one or two SEMs I will finish the whole course. And I already have a Maryland teaching license that will be reciprocated to any state where I will be hired in the future, praying and hoping for it.
Mhm. Very good. What
Yeah.
what grades are you teaching right now? You said you have 8 years of experience. What grades?
Grade 10 English.
Okay. So, but you do have, did you say you have a secondary English, major as well on top of the
Yes.
elementary? Okay. Because what happens is that there's an alignment issue that if your experience is elementary or high school and then your degree is the opposite, because in the Philippines they do that, but here is very
Mm-hmm.
strict. If you're a high school teacher, you have to have high school experience, and high school
Yes.
credential. So that's good for you that you went ahead and got your master's. And that's another requirement is that most, and not all, but most designated visa sponsors, these are the sponsors that have been, allowed to bring in J1 visa teachers, require a master's degree. And if you're still going through that, they would usually say, can you finish that master's degree like within the year? If you finish it within that school year, then they might accept that. But so a lot of times, which is smart of you to also get the special ed, because that's actually the one of the easier to get jobs is a special ed. Seems like when you go to most of those websites, they usually need special ed. But the problem is they're gonna have you see if you have experience of special ed at least 2 years. But some schools would do that, but some schools would just say, well, if you have 2 years of experience, period, then they would be okay. For the visa purposes, you just have to have 2 years of experience, you know. But they will look for alignment. So make sure that you have your credential and experience aligned. Um, so you only need 2 semesters for special ed. That's cool. You're very
Let's
close.
1 or 2 semesters.
Yeah, I think I don't think you should have any problems with interview. You're very fluent and you're very, I can tell you're an English major. Yeah,
Thank you
not much
so much.
accent. You're very fluent. So that's very good. That's going to help you. Just remember that when you do your interview, just make sure that you include your teaching philosophy. I believe that kids should be whatever, should be
Yes, I am. I
things
have.
like that. You
Uh,
include that, and then you might want to also finish up with like I want to teach in the US because, and if you're a J1 visa, person, then you should say something about it's because of the cultural exchange where you are learning about the American culture and you're teaching your students in America the Filipino culture. So that's a teacher exchange, a cultural exchange. So that's something to include because they're going to ask you, why do you want to, teach at our school or teach at our state or in the US? They will ask you those. So be ready to have an answer for that. That usually you do not use the money part. If you could put it at the end, if
of course.
yeah, usually you can say, well, because of what you learn or what you can teach, but then at the end, of course, the money, getting paid 8 to 10 times more than what I'm getting paid is a plus. You can say that, but it should not be the sole reason why you want to come. It's not, it's about kids. It's about, the learning, not about the money. I mean, I know the money is there. It is one of the reasons, but don't make it the primary reason. It make it sound like we're just after for the money and we're not really for the kids and it's all about kids. So that's the thing that I always say, that the default answer of most would usually be saying, oh yeah, because of the green pasture or because it's because the money's there better to help my family, all that. Do that. Oh, start with what you can give the students and what you gain from it for learning purposes, okay? And
Yes.
I know you said that. So do you have any question for me?
And so far, let's give a chance to the other participants to
All
know
right.
them.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Jennifer. I hope you
Thank
come back,
you.
okay?
Yes,
And
I am.
when you
I
get a
will.
job here, and I know a lot of folks get a job here and they won't even tell me like they're already here. I would love to know if you're already here because I would like to invite you to share your experiences with others.
So I will.
Yeah, that would be
I
nice
will.
if you could, okay? And if you ever,
Hopefully
yeah, if you ever
to
want
meet
to
you.
practice with me, yeah, if you ever want to practice with me, let me know and we can do a
Yes.
one-on-one practice before an interview. Some people are nervous before an interview, but if you practice, you'll feel a little better. I could actually comment on your answers and tell you what to add or what to take away or whatever. And if you have watched the Josephine videos, I don't know if you have the link
Not
for my
yet.
YouTube. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can search me under my name and it's ITSA. I will show up, and then I have more than 500 videos there. But there's a Josephine videos, two of them where I interviewed, or Maria and I interviewed Josephine, and I actually commented on her answer. She did such a good job that I asked her, "Is that okay if I use you as an example? Your answers as an example?" And she said yes. So I don't even know if Josephine is in America already or not. She was given a job offer that year, but she did not, she Googled the school and she was not very happy with it. So she decided to decline. But most people would like, okay, I'm just gonna take it. But that's sometimes you are after your safety, so you feel like, well, that might not be a safe place for me because I'm single and I'm by myself, and so on. There's no other Filipino there, whatever. Sometimes that would be an issue for some, but if you are here at all, Arkansas especially, I'm here for you, so I can visit your school or whatever. But and other states too, we can, I could Zoom with you and Zoom with your administrators if needed. So yeah, that would be cool. So yeah,
Thank
thank you.
you.
It's nice talking to you.
Nice to
I,
meet you too.
yeah, I
I
said very,
hopefully to meet you in person.
that would be awesome, right? I would love that. Okay,
Yes.
Evelyn. Oh, yeah, Verlyn, and then Stephanie. Oh, Stephanie, I want to talk to you, Steph. My
Yes,
daughter.
good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. Oh, yeah, I love your background. They're very bright. And there's Leo, Kervin. Let me welcome everybody here. Giselle, of course, is here. Thank you, Giselle. Gina, Marvin, Karen, Fran. Oh, there's Fran. My cousin is here. Yay. So anyway, Giselle, will you take being a host for me and then move it to Mike if you want to later? But I want to make you host so I could talk to folks. Okay.
Yes, though.
Okay. You are now host.
I'm glad.
Yeah, if you don't mind to make sure that you let them in. Okay, so Stephanie,
Yes,
you
sir.
want to talk to me, Steph?
Yes, ma'am. Good
Okay.
evening.
Yeah, good evening. Tell me about
Nice to
yourself.
finally talk to you, ma'am.
Yeah, nice to talk to you. I've been emailing with you and I didn't know. Yeah. So I was hoping you would show
Yes.
up. Yeah, good.
Thank you for your response for my emails, ma'am.
Yeah. So you did you sent me your resume and cover letter. Most of the cover
Yes,
letter
ma'am,
have been
done.
really good, but what the comment did I make on I don't remember what comment I made on your resume. What did I ask you to do? Did I ask you to add something or
No,
remove?
ma'am. You said it's okay. It's
Okay,
nice.
good. Yeah, resume should have the picture on top. I know normally you don't, but for me, for the
Yes.
international teachers, they don't know how we look like. A lot of times
Mm-mm.
they want to know, I know that in America, we actually tell our teachers, I teach teachers, at the college, at the university, and we tell them do not put your picture on the resume. But the international teachers, it seems like this is by my observation of, 4 years of helping teachers that they seem those that have pictures on the resume, they get more interviews than others
Okay.
because otherwise it just look like paper. You put a picture of what you look like and you look smile and the pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? And so a lot of times they might say, oh yeah, that looks like a person that might be a good fit for us. So why not, right? So put that in there and make sure that you remove any personal information. Some of them were saying about their age, their parents, their
Yes.
weights and all this other. No, you don't need those. Only the professional information, your degree, your experience, how many years. And you don't even have to describe what you do at every job because they know that unless, you have some extracurriculars or awards thing. That's what I would do. Some people are getting 3 or 4 pages on the resume because they would put their jobs at every school that they have been, and that's not needed because teaching, we know what teachers do, right? And so
Yes, ma'am.
extracurriculars, and then if you have a place for teaching philosophy would be good. That would help you. And also the 3 references, guys. 3 references had to come from 2 administrators and 1 principal. Used to, I would always say one administrator, 1 principal, and maybe a colleague. But now I noticed that some administrators are saying we really need 2 administrators and 1 teacher, 1 colleague. They don't put the personal anymore. So that's why I found out about that. So now I always say, try to do in your references, make sure you have 2 administrators, a supervisor, it could be your team leader or somebody that have observed you. And then
Okay, noted, ma'am.
yeah, make sure you have a phone number and email. Email is very important because they will they will contact them and ask them about you. There's a survey that they ask. And then, so if they don't answer, so if you put somebody there that never answers their email, don't put them there because they would
Okay.
have been, you have incomplete information then because your references did not answer. So make sure that you have that. I see a lot of no references in it. You will never get an interview without references on the bottom
Mm,
because how will they know about you if you don't have any references on the bottom? They always send those survey about you to these references. So you tell them that if you get like a reference check from any school that you have applied, make sure they answer it like same day if they could, because
okay.
it's very important. Yeah, they have a deadline. Usually they will say, we'll interview in within 2 or 3 days or next week. And so if they never got yours, you'll be in the no. You're not even going to be interviewed. So yeah, so make sure that you do that. Okay. All right. Tell us more about
Okay.
yourself, Stephanie.
Okay. Good evening, Dr. Merlina, and to the rest of us here joining this Zoom meeting. Thank you for this opportunity to interview with you, Dr. Merlina. I'm Estefany May R. Makoto, a secondary science teacher with over 10 years of teaching science to grades 7 to 10, as well as physics to grade 10 students, especially in special program in science students. So currently, I am teaching science and physics to grade 10 students at Babag National High School, Lapu-Lapu City, Cebu, Philippines, holding a bachelor's degree in physics, a diploma in professional education, and currently pursuing a Master of Arts in Education, major in teaching physics. I strive to create an interactive and immersive learning environment. I believe in the power of employing hands-on activities, um, utilizing interactive online simulation games or apps, as well as doing hands-on activities to enhance students' learning experience. As a science teacher, I am committed to, um, excuse me, ma'am.
It's okay.
I'm a bit nervous.
No, you should not be nervous. You should just be visiting with me. And that's what you should do in your
Yeah.
interview is you just be visiting with them. Like you just talking to me like a while ago, because they will
Okay.
they will introduce themselves. And when they do introduce themselves, you take notes of who they are and what their title is. And then to make you feel more comfortable. So don't ever just like have big notes where you're reading. Don't do that because it's more natural if you're just talking to me like you did
Yes.
earlier. Yeah, and you're doing an awesome job, by the way. You are you have science teacher and you said something about your philosophy, which is good, hands-on. And I like that you said that as a science teacher, I do this. That's good, very specific. Somebody, hey, Marlon, I'll have to ask you to mute, please, Marlon. Thank you. Um, anyway, so interactive, that's a very good thing. You might want to say the word simulation, not simulation. Okay. I know that might,
Okay, thank you for that, ma'am.
yeah, no problem. No problem.
Simulation.
Yeah, simulation. Yeah. Because they will like, what? What did you say? They might say that because some of the things that we pronounce in the Philippines are okay, but then when it translates to American, pronunciation, it might be different. I've been here in America 38 years, so I kind
Wow.
of have, yeah, I have already kind of, I guess talk like my husband maybe with still the same Filipino accent, by the way. You're in Babag National High School. You teach right there by my yard.
Yes, ma'am.
My brother's
Um,
house.
yes, with me this evening, ma'am, is Sir Marvin Gasta and Ma'am Precious Bendong. We are colleagues, actually.
Alex, okay. Well, so
Yeah.
you must have taught some of my nieces and nephews there, the Tamaras. Have you taught any of
I
them?
think Sir Marvin already somehow talked about your nephew, ma'am. I think she's in the phase of doing this field study, no, not field study, but practicum in
Yeah.
Babag National High School.
Yeah. So you
Yes,
had
but
babies.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
haven't met them or him or her.
Our house is just right walking distance from your school. So in fact, I think my brother has a tenant there that's, staying in the rental place. That's a teacher, and you might be one of your colleagues. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
think
that's
it's Sir
interesting.
Marvin.
Yeah, it is okay. Well, you were telling me that he's a really nice guy. So I said, well, I want to talk to him. But anyway, but it's nice talking to you. And Bisaya naman today.
Ay,
I'm
sir.
Bisaya.
Lagi.
And so anyway, my last visit to the Philippines is 2018. So that's when before COVID. So I would love to be there like either next year or maybe hopefully next that summer. And I would love to go. That's my goal, but don't tell them.
Yes,
Maybe they will
ma'am.
watch. Usually I do a surprise visit. I don't, but so sometimes I would tell them and they will be there at the airport. But having a surprise visit is always nice. But they do a good job of keeping the house, so I don't get them, I don't catch them having a messy house or anything. So- but anyhow, so you have your master in physics, which is good. And because most J1 sponsors would always prefer somebody with masters. And I think some of them would accept bachelors, but they would like for you to have started your master and maybe finishing for that year. They would still accept that. But why they do that, I think, is because you have a better chance of getting approved if you have your master's. Although
Mhm.
if you search under the immigration in the US, it says a bachelor's degree with 5 years of experience is actually supposed to be equivalent to master's degree. That's what they say on
Okay,
online.
ma'am.
But then the J1, you have to tell the J1 sponsor to that because most of them would say, no, we want somebody with master's degree, already or about to be done, like last semester or 2 semesters, and should be okay. But because I've worked with a lot of schools, and that's the first thing they check is your alignment with your experience or credential plus your master's degree. And then
Okay.
I always get a question like, what if a master's degree is not on my field? Like in your case, you are having your master's degree in your own field, and that is okay. Like a bunch of the master's degree I noticed were about administration, supervision, administration. That's
Yes.
okay. But as long as you have your master's, I think, like when I did my bachelor, my specialist, my master's, my specialist, and my doctorate, they were all different. I did curriculum, I did, administration because I wanted to be able to have different things on because I'm already elementary. Why would I go master's in elementary? I need to go, secondary. I need to go, curriculum. I need to go administration in my doctorate. So yeah, it's really okay. Like a bunch of the applicants are also getting their master's in special ed. And I think that's really good because that's like one of the most needed jobs right now. High school teachers will get a faster job here, as my cousin Fran would say, and also Giselle. We had 13 Filipino teachers that were going to be hired by a school, and then they're sadly their superintendent had a heart attack and passed away. So they were not able to continue the process. And the 10 of the high school teachers were able to come like the same year. But my cousin Fran and Marlon that's here and also Giselle, they're still there waiting. And so I think what the reason is, bunch of the graduates from the education department here in our universities are mostly elementary. So they
Mhm.
would say things like, "Oh yeah, elementary teachers are like a dime a dozen," which is just like a which is like a saying that we get a lot of them. So we get a lot of applicants from elementary, and we don't have as much in high school. So the high school teachers seem to be faster at coming here, but elementary teachers don't be discouraged because if you have your master's degree in another area, whatever special ed, especially, then you should be able to do it. And sometimes it's the misalignment. And I know I think Marlon's a situation. Marlon, I'm gonna put you in a spot. Thank you again so much. Stephanie, thank you so much. I love the way you
Thank you,
spell
ma'am. Thank
Stephanie.
you.
Yeah, my daughter is Stephanie, spelled Stephanie. Yours is Estifane. That's
Yes, ma'am. It's a
a
bit
very
different.
Filipino way. Yeah, it's very Filipino way of spelling it. I was smiling when I saw that. I'm like, yeah, it's like my daughter's, except spelled differently. Very creative parents. Yeah. Okay. So it's nice
Thank
talking
you
to you.
very much,
Yeah.
ma'am.
All right. Thank you for coming on, and hope you come back. And do check out our website. Our website here there at ITSA International Teacher Support in America, and also your YouTube under my name and ITSA. Okay, you will
Yes,
see
I
all
started
the
checking
videos.
on them, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, all the videos and subscribe or like whatever, that would be nice. But anyhow, okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. Fran, Merlin, or Giselle, I'm gonna put you in a spot. Do you mind sharing, one of you to share your information about your journey as an elementary school teacher applicant? And I hope that you're not discouraged, but I would like for you to share your experiences, please. Fran, you want to do it, Fran? This is my cousin.
Hello, good evening. Good morning, Doc.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay, my journey about the application in the US. Uh, it's quite hard, but we will try better.
Yeah, you continue to try. I'm getting a lot of references, up from different schools from all three of you. So hopefully, even if you stay, in another state
Maybe.
that's just closer to us, it's easy to travel here in the US. We can drive.
We have a
We
lot
can
of
drive. Yeah.
application in another states also.
I noticed that. Yeah, I noticed like some of you did like Alaska and
Yeah,
so, yeah. So Alaska.
any of the states we try.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have that job postings thing from A to Z. Yeah. Alaska is very close to Russia. So it's like separate, of course, as you know, Alaska and Hawaii are the 49th and 50th state, and they are separated from the 48 states. So they call them contiguous 48 states or continental United States, and those are the 48 states. And Texas being the biggest. But then when Alaska is part of it, I'm doing a geography lesson now. When Alaska is part of it, then it becomes the biggest. So all the 50 states, Alaska is the biggest, but it's not the most populated because there's so many like open areas there that with no people, because it's very cold there, very, very cold. So if you are planning to go to Alaska, you get paid more, but you're gonna freeze your bottom off because it is so, 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 so cold. So yeah, you have to be good at cold if you want to go there. But of course you're gonna be placed hopefully in like close to the big city, where it's not gonna be so much like a very, very big province in an icy place. Anchorage would be good. Anchorage is a big place in Alaska. And Juneau's being the capital. Juneau would be a good one, but maybe the thing with the capitals is that it's going to be more expensive to rent, and everything there is so expensive, like $6 a dozen for eggs now. It will be like what's that, 300 something pesos a dozen, where it was only 100 here in Arkansas, although now it's about that much now here. Eggs are really high. But anyway, so Fran, tell us about your experience. Were there points where you got discouraged some because you were not able to come in with the other 10? You're still
No,
continuing
because
to that.
uh, I do not discourage because God's allow us to continue even though like that. Everything is in place with God's time, not
Yeah,
our time.
good
Maybe
thinking.
that West Memphis journey with us, it's not for us. It's the redirection
Yeah,
and protection.
very
And we
good.
will continue our journey of applying in any
Hmm.
stage and hoping for the best this year. But I am planning to enroll a special education diploma in special education this semester, hopefully.
Good job.
And
Yeah, I think I would really recommend that for you because
because my
yeah,
friends, my colleague here says that the easiest path to go is to take the diploma of SPED. And I
that's right.
try it because I am also the coordinator, the school SPED coordinator, but I am not SPED. I'm not SPED. That I tell
Certified. Yeah.
to my principal, no, no, mom, I don't do that. I am the SPED coordinator. No, you're the SPED, it's fit for you because I have 2 years handling inclusive education. I
Mm,
have 4 special in my class last year and this time too because nobody accept that one. Because
yeah.
in our school, we don't have SPED classes, purely SPED, it's inclusive. So I will be handled the 2 years already to have special. It's not easy to handle if you have no idea how to handle that.
Right, right. That's
Yeah.
experience of yours should be helpful. Yeah. Because if you get interviewed, like how many years is that your master's degree in special ed? Your yeah, certificate in it. How many years?
It's only 1 year.
Okay. So if you
Because
get interviewed,
30 units, it's for only 1 year.
okay. Well, for
Okay.
when you get interviewed for that, and you just make sure that you say, although I have not taught in actual special ed class, like a self-contained, but I have experience because of this role. So you need to make sure that you put in that experience, like what you just told me. Make sure you include that in your interview as a special ed teacher. And I think I can better place teachers in special ed. In fact, I'm now in the process of getting those people with special ed, making a separate list for them because I'm sending it to the superintendents because they have so much needs in that area. So anyway, so if you have your master's degree and I don't know about it or you're trying to get that, email me, mcculloughmarlena@gmail.com, and let me know so I will include you in the list. Because some of you had just started since I had your resume. So you make sure you update me and say, I am in the process of, and of getting it, and that my estimated date of graduation is this. So I'll graduate in 2025 or 26, whatever. You let me know, okay? Because I am putting that list together and sending it to schools like this week.
Yeah. Hopefully this December, if God permit.
Yeah, that would be,
Hopefully,
yeah,
because
that would be cool. Yeah, for J1 purposes, Fran, they're gonna be who is that? Somebody's talking. If you're not Fran, please mute your microphone for me. Thank you. Anyway, so if for your purposes, if you get interviewed now as a special ed person, you need to go ahead and apply, and because you will graduate within the year, and JU1 sponsors will be okay with that as long as you graduate within the school year that you're hired. So they're gonna, yeah, and oh, you already have a master's on something else anyway, right?
yeah, I have.
Yeah, so
I have.
you really are okay. So I already have my master's in this area, but I'm currently trying, finishing my special ed, endorsement or whatever certification. So that's something that you could say because, and then for the experience part, they're going to be looking for that. You need to say, I have been the director or the lead in my school on special ed. So those are things that you should say because as a former administrator here, I always look for that. Like, okay, we're hiring her as a special ed. That she had that experience? So you want to make sure that you share that. Okay.
Okay.
And a lot of you, when you would introduce yourself, you say something about inclusive education. Well, that might mean different than here and the Philippines. So make sure that you say another sentence about that. Inclusive education in the Philippines means that. What does it mean? What is inclusive education when you say that word, what do you mean by that in the Philippines?
Inclusive education, we mean that in our classroom, we have mixed special and normal students.
Okay. You said regular students. Okay. So
Regular,
yeah,
regular
because
students.
because then it make it sound like the others are abnormal, but it's but anyway, so your regular students, so it's like here, it's mainstreaming. It's mainstreaming the students from the, special ed to your classroom. And so the self-contained one is what would be, I think Mike serves as a special ed self-contained teacher, where you have all the special ed all day long. And a lot of times they are severely handicapped, and some of them even have their own own paraprofessional or aide. They have their own aide to go with them everywhere. So a lot of times they may be with like a wheelchair or something, and they will hire a special person, one person for that student. But of course, when you're in the classroom, the teacher might ask you to help others, but really your job is for that particular child, and you go with that child all day long until they leave. So yeah, so that would be the difference. Okay. Yeah, just make sure you do not use the word normal and abnormal
Okay.
because you need to use the word regular ed students. Regular education students would be the more appropriate way to say it. But trust me, I also said the same thing before when so don't worry about it. You have any question for me or any comment for others? Like, do you have encouragement phrase for them?
Try and try, be the best, and then keep going and also keep praying. Because
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it's our
God,
time,
it's your
no
time,
more.
it's your time. Yeah.
Yeah,
So God, I'll do my best. Please do the rest, right?
do the rest. That's
Yeah.
my petition on Senior Santo Niño
Yeah.
this
Good
year.
idea. Yeah, because they always say,
Keep going.
yeah, people make plans and God laughs because he
Yeah.
really has his own plan and his plan's the one that's going to happen, not ours.
His plan
So
is the best.
yeah, so sometimes he doesn't give us that whatever we wish for because he'll give us something else that we really needed, right? Yeah. So they always say if they close the door, sometimes the windows are opened. So yeah, so maybe the windows are opening for you and Marlon and Giselle. So thank you so much, friend. Marlon,
Thank
I would like to
you.
put you, yeah, thank you. Marlon, I want to put you in a spot too. Where are you in your
Yes.
process? I know I
Okay,
talked to see, Marlon is Maria's mother. One of my favorites over here. So she's my first one that I brought over. So she
okay,
was
good
here at my
morning,
house.
Doc.
Yeah, good morning. She was just at my house the other day. She told you, right? You saw it.
Ah,
Your
okay.
daughter was here
Yeah, yeah.
visiting.
Maria Feliz is very good in cooking, not like me.
Yes. I know
Yeah,
we were doing reels on her cooking. You know what I said?
yeah.
We were cooking the banana blossoms.
She's really good in cooking.
She
She
is.
loves to discover everything.
Dishes. Yeah, she learned two things when she was here.
Yes. Yeah, Doc, regarding to my status today, Frano invite me to have a school in SPED in CTU, but unfortunately I cannot. Maybe next Saturday I'm going to take an exam today. Today Saturday I cannot do it because I am not feeling well. I have
Oh,
colds and uh cough. So anyway, my motivation is still 100%. I really love to go to USA because my daughter Maria Feliz would like to. She always pushing me and encouraging me every day and calling me. Sometimes I cannot I cannot respond. I'm afraid and shy because what's the status? She always
check
update me.
on you.
What's the status of your application? Oh,
Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
I feel embarrassed about her. Oh my God, my daughter is very updated about my status in application, and she always sending me about the link. Sometimes I forget because I'm too busy, but I try myself to every night to to send the link the appli track rather
Mhm.
than I am so yeah so searching another what we call this school or district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if that's a very good one that you have your advocate there, your daughter, because she really wants you here. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
being in
Yes.
Arkansas would be preferred, but if you just
My
come to
family is
visit,
also my husband's pushing me, my eldest daughter is pushing me. Oh my
yeah,
God, I'm
yeah.
really shy. I'm like, oh my God, what will I do now?
Yeah. Well,
So,
I hope you do come because I think Maria would be so happy and I would be so happy to meet you because I felt like I know you guys already because I've talked to you so many times and also and Maria would call you and I would say hi. So yeah, that's
yes. Oh, yeah,
great. Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I saw you in last Saturday about the what you call this, the fluvial parade. Yeah, is that Dr. Like I forgot that you were there. So,
Yeah.
because we really wanted to watch the fluvial parade there
Yeah.
in
Yeah, that was
the
cool. And I
Shepherd.
told Maria and she could
Um,
not believe. She said, I can't believe you've never been to one. I said, never. I was in the Philippines. I was 19 years old when I left and have never been to those. And she said that that is something that you do as a family. You always go every year. And I'm like, I have never been, to the Sinulog stuff, there. So yeah. So we always just stayed home. My dad was so strict. Our dad was so strict and he would not let us go anywhere. So yeah, so we were pretty naive, I guess, and did not know much. When I came to the US, I felt like a child, a 19-year-old child because I have not gone anywhere. I've not done anything, but since coming here, I've gone to 38 states, maybe 40 now. But anyway, yeah, so I've traveled a lot. So when you come here, I would
that's
love for you
good.
to travel because Maria's traveled a lot. She went to New York,
Yes,
went to
she loves to
Maryland.
travel a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
she loves to travel. So
Yeah.
she's got a boyfriend that's also wanting to travel. So that's good. Good.
Yeah. Zealand wanted also to be with her if
Yeah.
they if they if if her contract is done already, the program. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Well, yeah, he wanting to go to Philippines, but they're so funny because she's teaching him like, as Americans, he's teaching him like langa. Yes, he would be doing stuff like that. They were, the way that they talk and call each other and he's teaching him Filipino language. And I think that's
Yeah.
really good. Yeah.
Bisaya.
Yeah, Bisaya, that's really good because he's picking up a lot of stuff. She was
Yeah.
able to talk to him in the languages and the vocabulary that she had taught him. And yeah, my husband, oh my gosh, Dwayne can count 1 to 10. He was so funny because when some spam calls would call us, just junk call, and he would say, "Usa duha tulo upat lima o dahon pito walo siyam na po." He would say that, and they would say, "Can somebody speak English there?" I just laugh because it's American, but he would use it that way, but he just doesn't know as much, and I am embarrassed that especially my two children who are 26, Jet and 34, Stephanie, that they do not know how to speak Filipino language. They know the basic, like inom, kaon, help, those things that I taught them before we went to the Philippines so they could get help. But because everywhere in the Philippines, people can speak the English, there's no pressure for me as a parent that I had to teach them. But now I regret it because as adults, they say, Mom, why did you not make us bilingual? So
Yeah,
make sure, yeah, see,
bilingual.
yeah. And see, your
Yeah.
daughter Maria is an English teacher and she's very fluent now. She
Ah,
speaks like an
yeah.
American now. Yeah.
Yes, there are big difference there. Yes, she's improving. Very,
Yeah.
very fluent in English.
You are too, by the way. If you look at your old video, if you look at your old video, you will
Yes,
see an improvement because you've been coming on and visiting us here. And that's why I encourage people to do that because you will get to practice. You were speaking.
yes.
We spend, I want to encourage folks to speak in English, although sometimes I would share
But
some.
Maria Phillips always told me to speak in English regularly in my school. You
Yeah,
speak in English in your students, even though they cannot speak right away in English. Yeah, you started speaking
understand.
English since
Yeah,
then.
good for you. Yeah.
Uh,
That's what you
yeah,
should do, everyone, because practice
conversation.
makes perfect. Yeah. And when you get
Yes,
here and when you get interview, that's the number one thing that they're gonna look at is like, are you fluent in English? And
yes,
that's the
yes.
first thing they would ask me. I would send names to administrators or those principals and superintendents, and they would say, Marlena, are these folks fluent in English? Because we do not want to have problems with parents complaining that we do not understand our Filipino teacher. Some kids would say that, although they do understand, but they would just making you a cop out that, oh yeah, I have low grade because the Filipino teacher is very hard to understand. They don't want to have that problem, and I don't think you will have that problem especially if you've been coming on here. Hi, Mike. Welcome, Mike. Giselle, you and Mike talk about chat between yourself and see if who wants to be host. You can give it to Mike or you can keep it. Doesn't matter. Mike, what do you want?
It's up
Thank you
to
again,
Miss
Marlon.
Isabel.
Thank
Yeah.
you,
Mhm.
Doc.
Sir Mike,
Good
Yeah.
morning, good
I'm
morning
going
po.
to give it to you.
Oh,
Okay. All
Sige,
right.
ikaw muna yung host, Sir Mike. Balik ko sa iyo kasi medyo may problema yung internet ko.
Okay, well, thank you, Giselle, for hosting before Mike comes on. Mike, I started a little earlier today because Dwayne had a birthday yesterday, and we are
oh,
celebrating it today. So I have a house full of people right now. So I actually put a
happy birthday.
timer. I put a timer that we need to stop before when they wake up. I'm going to give you a warning that we need to stop because I feel bad and we have company and I already made breakfast so that they would come in and they could just heat it up in the microwave. But still, I feel like, oh, they have, why is she not giving us attention? I don't want that feeling. So they're
Oh,
next
yeah,
door,
I
Mike. They're
understand.
they're in the guest house, but yeah, that's something that we could limit today. That's why I want to talk to as many people as I could. Okay. So Mike, do you have
Yes.
anything to share with them? You have always done a good job of posting things on ITSA page. Thank you so much. And also Mike is very active on the chat in the discussion group chatting with everyone. So yeah, awesome job, Mike. A plus, Mike. You have
Thank you
anything?
very much,
Yeah,
Doc,
you have
for always.
anything to share with them? Any update?
Um, like what we are sharing to other teachers, we just started like you here. Actually, I started here accidentally. While I'm looking for a job opportunity here in the USA because I don't have any plan. And always attend the Zoom meeting and you will learn a lot. You will learn a lot from Doc Morlina. She's the one who brought us here in the USA. We didn't know Doc Morlina a lot during the time. And she's the one who helped us in looking for the school and in recommending us, recommending us in the different school here in Helena, Arkansas,
With three
Mariana,
skin there, yeah. They had 15
Brinkley.
there, right? And Brinkley has seven now?
Yes po.
Yeah. So you have a lot.
Barton. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's a lot of
Right.
Filipino
Three.
teachers here now.
Yeah. So in
Mhm.
that area alone with the three schools, you already have 25 just in those three schools. And there's a
Yes
lot
po.
all over Arkansas. So I'm thinking we might have 50 in Arkansas or plus. And then
Mhm.
some lately, I need to share these names with you later, Mike, that said, "Oh, by the way, Mr. Dr. McCullough, I'm already here." So they're telling me that they just arrived in the US. And so I said, well, make sure that you come on our Zoom and share your experiences, because I think that's
Mhm.
the most, folks' favorite is when they hear the experiences of Filipino teachers. That's why Mike is one of those that would always travel. Like, he and his family have traveled like how many states, Mike?
Um, I, I forgot. I think
Okay.
28 already.
Yeah, see, 10 away from me, and I've been here 38 years, and you only been 3 years here. Yeah.
Yes, I'm turning 2 years this
Yeah, 2 years.
coming
Yeah, you have traveled a
February.
lot. Mike is very good
Yes.
about like visiting those Filipinos that just arrived. He would go and visit them. So a bunch of
Yes
those
po, yes po.
friends in Qatar, right? Yeah. So he's bringing all his friends here, seems like. So and they're successful. So they're doing really good. So yeah. So Mike, thank you for that. He's like my number
Mhm.
one recruiter here. He's, it's
Thank you very much.
advertising
And also po, Doc, don't forget to send your resume to Doc Marlena, and she will
cover letter.
Americanize it for free. For
Yeah.
free.
Well, Americanizing it, just like what I said earlier about telling you what should be there and what should not be there and what to add or, all that. And the cover letter, I always look at it, but then a bunch of folks have already used the chat GPT. So you should use chatgpt.com and try to, copy and paste your cover letter there. And then you put the word, rewrite professionally. When you do that, then it will rewrite it for you and it will sound so smart. I do that on everything I do. I would always copy and paste what I wrote down, like, okay, rewrite this professionally, and boom. I'm like, oh my goodness, I sound so smart. So so that's what you need to do with your cover letter. So that's an easy fix. But with your resume, and that's what I told earlier, you put your picture up, and then the three references on the bottom is a requirement, because if you don't have those references, you will not get an interview at all. So if you want an interview, you need to make sure you have those three references, two administrators, one colleague, and then with email and phone info. They're not going to call, but they will email. So not very many people will call. As far as I know, it's always email, right, Mike? Is that always what they communicate with? Yeah, email.
Yes po, yes po.
So
And
make
of
sure that
course, if Doc Marlena knows that school,
yeah,
Doc Marlena is very willing to include her as one of your references.
yeah, put it on
Right,
top.
Doc?
Yeah. Yeah. If you have, but you have already communicated with me and you already applied here. You do not just like watch my video and say, okay, she's my reference. Well, I don't know you. And if they ask you, about, me, about you, I've never talked to you and I've never received any cover letter or resume, then I would be lying if I would, rate you, because they want you to rate 1 to 10 what kind of teacher you are. Are you organized? Are you good at lesson planning? Are you good at classroom management strategies? Those are the 10 or 12 questions they would ask the reference person. And so I could not lie about it. So if I have known you because you have already, attended here, even especially more than once, then I could really say, yeah, I've talked to Stephanie, I've talked to, whoever I said, to Jennifer and all that I have, this is what I know about them. And see, I could share personal things that I remember. Sometimes I have to go back to my video, actually. That's why I number my videos. I will go back and say, because I have notes, I have notebooks that I would put my notes on for the Zoom. So I'd go back to my notes and say, okay, when did I talk to this teacher? So I would go back to that video and rewatch it and to see how you answered me and how you introduce yourselves and so on. And for your interview, and I have a lot of interview materials there that I posted on Facebook, both in Facebook and YouTube, right, Mike? So the Josephine videos are good sources, and then I've also made some reels on questions for teachers, and then actual answers, possible answers you could include. The big thing on interview is that you should just visit with them, talking like you're talking to me right now. And then at the end, you need to ask them questions. Do not ask them, how much are you going to get? Am I going to get paid? Don't ask that question. You know why? Because that's public information. All you do is go to the website of that school. And one of the required information is the pay schedule of pay, the pay schedule. And they will say like 1 year of experience is how much, 2 years of experience is how much. There's a table there. And so you can just look it up. You can look at it. Is a public information. If it's a public school, they have to publicize the pay. You will know the pay of the principal. You know the pay of the teachers there. They would know. Okay, so that should not be a question that you should ask, because it also makes you sound like, well, you're just doing this for money and not for the kids. So I would not waste my question on that. I would say ask things like, do you offer any professional development for international teachers or for new teachers? What kind of mentorship do we receive? Things like that. Or do you have any Filipino teachers or international teachers at your school already? And all that. So you can ask those questions, and then, yeah, just don't waste it on the money question. Okay? Just like, yeah. Right, Mike? You agree? Yeah.
Yes po, yes po.
Yeah. Anyway, so who do I need to talk to? Some new ones here, Mike. I got to talk to Stephanie already and to Jennifer. So I talked to Marlon and Fran and Giselle hosted. I don't know if Giselle has something to add to what they said, Fran and Marlon. These three I really would like to continue to encourage because you are my priorities. You're the only three left there of the 13, okay? So I've I've mentioned your name to all of these administrators I see, but anyhow, yeah.
Doc, yes,
Uh-huh.
Doc.
Yeah.
Regarding I pursue my social studies because I graduated as a BS Ed secondary education in social studies. So Maria Phyllis said that you should pursue which is aligned to your FCE. So
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah.
I think good idea.
So
Yeah. Because the
yeah,
misalignment.
yes,
Yeah. There's
even
a
though I
misalignment.
don't have masteral about my bachelor degree because I'm taking early childhood. I'm taking also a what we call this science
Mm-hmm.
when I was
Yeah.
in public school. So that's why. So I'm focused on my FCE, which is the social studies
Yeah.
major.
I think
Yeah.
that's a very good advice from Maria because they will look for alignment. And yours, remember when we were looking at it, like there's a misalignment. She's teaching elementary and her degree is high school, right? And so
So
yeah.
when I was in the DepEd, so I teaching in elementary sixth grade teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you might want to, are you looking for like a high school social studies maybe? So you'll have at least
Yeah,
full
I'm starting
experience.
high school social studies.
Okay.
Yes, Doc.
Okay.
Because I'm concerned about my FC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, FCE for
Okay.
those, it's Foreign Credential Evaluation, and that is from spantran.com, www.spantran.com. Or what's the other one? Was it
West.
West?
Yes,
West?
yes, West. Yes,
WEST?
yes po.
Dot
West.
com. Okay, so that's when you send your official transcript to them, and they will evaluate it to try and convert it to what it is in equivalence to the US. So they will say, okay, in the US, this you will have this degree and all that. So it will tell you that, right? What does your FCE say up on top? What's your
Huh?
equivalence of your degree? Yeah.
My FC is about, there are the bachelor's degree, which is the social science, social studies, and then another one is the early childhood education, and another one is the what we call this science because I was a scholar in the DepEd department. So, but in my a total of is more on talaga social studies.
Yeah.
How about
Areas.
my Illinois also, my ISBET is focused on also in social studies.
Yeah, because that's what your degree is. Yeah, you're right. And so, yeah, so that's why it's important to have those experience, even if you have 2 years in that, and the others will be different, but you need to have at least experience that year, that grade that you have a degree in, because
Yeah.
we really do get a lot of, people getting, teaching high school, but their degree is in elementary. And so that's not going to happen in America. What they do is if they really want you and they'll hire you, and of course if J1 visa folks would let you in, um, they will have to they have to do another paperwork to say this teacher is teaching out of level or out of content. So they only have 1 year for that. You will be allowed 1 year to fix that because otherwise the school will be flagged. And if the school is flagged, that's not a bad thing. It's like a bad grade for a school. They don't want to have a bunch of flag things. Flag things are very common here. Like if they are teaching out of level or they are maybe they have not passed their TOEFL. The teachers of English as a foreign language, TOEFL is required in Arkansas. That not all the states require it, but Arkansas is one of them, very strict, very hard to get because it's like 4 areas: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And it's hard to pass. Some of our teachers that were teaching here in Arkansas moved to Texas because they could not pass the TOEFL. They've tried 6, 7 times. It's like $200 every time. So they've spent a lot of money. So if you feel like, oh, I'm not very strong on that, you may want to not apply in Arkansas or get your TOEFL already at home. You can go to www.ets.org and then look for TOEFL, search under TOEFL, and then take it there already. And if you passed it, you can pretty much apply anywhere. But Arkansas is one of the strictest. We really do require TOEFL. They would let you teach for 1 year without TOEFL, but they really would like for you to have that TOEFL by the second year you're here, because otherwise they'll be flagged. And that's what's,
Doc,
yeah. Go ahead.
and last time I think we already mentioned this. Um, Rather of taking the TOEFL,
Uh-huh.
do you think it's better for them to take the praxis directly? Excuse me,
Yeah.
directly to take the praxis,
Yeah.
but of course they must be uh what do you call this? Make sure that they will choose the right praxis code that they're
Right.
going to take,
Right.
right?
Praxis, but
Because praxis is cheaper than TOEFL because praxis I think is $130 only, while TOEFL is
double that. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think how
but
much is the TOEFL?
yeah.
I forgot. Yeah.
Some schools would actually would say that, Mike, would actually stress that okay, go ahead and get your praxis, but they need both, you see. But yeah,
Mhm.
praxis would be applicable to all the states. That's a very good advice, Mike, because if those states do not need TOEFL, well, you don't need to be doing TOEFL and waste $200, right? So, but if you do praxis, that's gonna apply to all 50 states, because praxis
Yes.
is needed in order for you to be certified or be be like really part of your license is that you already have your praxis for that area. For elementary, there's an 4 areas, math, literacy, and social studies and science that you have to pass the praxis on. There's four, you can take it 4 different times, or there's one that 6 hours or something, that one setting and you can do all four.
Mhm.
I would not recommend that. That's going to be so hard. So I would
Yes.
rather have you take, yeah, one at a time, and start with a subject that you're going to be the best on. Like math is usually a first one, because math is universal. So you can take math, and then just K6 math, so you should be able to pass it, right? So
Yes, po. Yeah,
that
it's different. K6 and the 7 to 12.
yeah, so you can, if
Different. The high school,
you're
elementary,
yeah, if
middle
you're
school.
elementary, make sure you have K6. So you need to make sure that you can even email me if you are not sure about the praxis thing, because I have done that for my teachers before, that I was actually the one that would check it, make sure they have the right praxis. So I would tell them the code. And I also have a really good friend at Department of Ed. I used to work there, and I could actually email Vanessa and say, "Hey, Vanessa, I have this
Mhm.
teacher. What kind of praxis should this teacher be taking?" And she would give me the code, and then I will tell you, because you don't want to be wasting your, $100 and it's the wrong code. Okay, because there's a
Yes.
lot of different courses code there that you can take. So you need to make sure that you take the right one. Okay?
Yes po. And especially, Doc, you mentioned about not the provisionary license, but if you're teaching the other subject that is not your major, like in my situation, right?
Out of content.
They do the reciprocity of my license. I am a high school teacher in the Philippines teaching technology and livelihood education.
Mhm,
And my license here is my provisionary license is industrial technology education.
mhm.
And they have the ALP for special education.
Alternative
And
licensure plan. Uh-huh.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
the additional licensure plans.
Mm-hmm.
And what they instructed me is I need to finish first the industrial technology praxis,
Mm-hmm.
which is the 53, no, it's not 53, 5051, and then they change it. And after that, I will start my special education praxis,
Mm-hmm.
wherein I will take three praxis.
Yeah. Well, that
One
makes
is the
sense, Mike. Yeah.
foundation of reading,
Mm-hmm.
um, core knowledge, 50 55,
Mm-hmm.
and I forgot the other one.
Okay.
Yes po. So there's a lot of practice you will take here
So tell me the
in
codes again for special ed. If you're a special ed, go to www.ets.org and then search code
practice
number
po. Yeah,
find praxis, and then
praxis.
type, and then look for what code? 5051, what else?
5355.
5355, what's the
Yes
third?
po. I forgot I will share it here po,
Yeah,
in the chat.
share it, Mike,
Uh,
because for special ed folks, you could take that, and if you feel like you have enough classes to pass it, because you have to have the information in order for you to pass it, right, Mike? Are the questions like situational, like a bunch of things that you make decisions, or is it something that you really have to have in your head, like actually skills or actually knowledge? What kind of questionings are there? What kind of questions?
uh, which praxis po?
Like 5051, for example.
In my 5051, the industrial, the technology education, since my major is industrial arts, so we covers a lot of majors there, and it's different here in the USA. That's why, while I'm doing the review of the praxis, yeah, I think you can see that. Can see it. The praxis, the technology education, the coverage po nito is more on, it's different. So if you are industrial technology or TLET major there in the Philippines who are applying here in the USA, expect that the coverage or the scope of technology education here and in the Philippines are different because there's a pedagogy included in Praxis 2 in technology education, wherein in our major, I remember that we don't have pedagogy in TLA or in industrial arts. We have the professional education parts in our licensure examination.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a mix of automotive, carpentry, what else? Computer,
So lots
um,
of things under industrial.
technology education, yes po.
But
And
special
then
ed is only one, Mike? Special ed only has one that they have to take? Three.
no po, uh, we need to take
Three. Okay, special ed.
yes po.
But
And
the
one of
numbers are the code you gave
yes
me
po, and
was for industrial or was it for special ed? Was the 5051
I gave them the industrials, and then for the
special ed?
praxis for special education, I have here the 5354,
Okay.
but they said the content of 5355, because I'm going to take 5355, they changed it, and from 5 parts, they uh, made it only 4 parts
Okay.
in 5355. They said, while I'm doing my research, they said that the contents are different, but when I check it, it's almost the same. It's
Ah,
almost
okay.
the same.
Good to know. They also have review materials, and I would recommend you if you feel like not comfortable with what kind of format it is. There are some review materials you can purchase. Okay, like when I took my administration test here in order to become principal, I bought the whole set of review materials because I wanted to see because the materials are actually very much aligned to the format of the test, different content, different questions, but they will show the kinds of the format, which is nice to know. Some of them are situational. They'll give you like an a situation and how some vignettes, and then you have to see how you solve it as a principal, for example. So a lot of essays, so like, oh my gosh, lots of essays that we had to answer short answers of things too. So anyway, so your praxis, yeah, good idea. Take your praxis if you're really serious about it. So anyway, so Mike, yeah, if you can just type it on the chat, might be good. Especially if you know
Yes
the
po, I will po.
special ed.
Yes po.
Special ed would be what they need. Yeah, not very many industrial, but it will be more special ed would be what they need.
Yes po. And then they will see the cut off score
Mm-hmm.
for every states.
Yep. They
Because
will. What is the
I
cutoff
cannot say, yeah.
what is the cutoff for special ed? Do you know?
Yes po, it's 134,
130.
137
Okay, one.
for the other one, and for the other praxis special education test, and one is 148.
Okay.
So you will surprise that the exam is only 120.
Yeah.
So Yeah, they will add 100. For example, my score is 48. So they will add 100 on it. So it's 148.
Oh, okay. Well, what happened is that every state also has a different kind of score. How I know that is because in Arkansas we have a higher cut-off score for the social studies teachers, and when they go to Mississippi, it's lower. So if they fail in Arkansas's cutoff, they would get their license in Mississippi. And this is a bunch of my coach friends that are coaches. Um, they would get their license in Mississippi, and then they'll do a reciprocity license then in Arkansas. So that's how they were able to go around that. But of course, there's maybe 10 points. I don't remember now, but there were some some difference, and so they can still get their license if they meet a certain state. So that's something that you need to research anyway. If you felt like, oh my goodness, this state has a very high cutoff score, and the praxis, yeah, it is cheaper. So yeah, so good idea. You can do that from home, right? That ets.org, you can take it from home, or do you have to go to a testing center?
So you can take it at home, but the ATS po, they have requirements.
Yeah. They have like you cannot, what was it that you cannot well, there's a lot of things that you cannot do when you're taking it. I remembered my son Jet took the test for the computer, and then he had to prepare a lot of things that right?
Yes po, you need to have a webcam that will overhaul the room.
Yeah. They could see the whole
Yes,
room. Nobody's gonna be giving you the
yes po.
answers.
And
Yeah.
then they will check also your computer.
Yeah.
There's a specification, and it's not a specification, but they have a requirements.
Yeah.
At least you will meet their requirements
Okay.
before you take the home. Yes.
Mike, you background there, you got a million jackets, Mike. You
Yes po. I forgot to
No,
bring it
that's
up po
okay.
kasi
You
show my gun po.
No, it's okay. But Mike, you were ready for winter, looks like.
Yes po. And then
Yeah.
soon we'll go to put it back in the cabinet or in
Yeah,
the
well,
luggage.
one of the things that you will purchase here when you come to America is those jackets and coats. And you go to Goodwill, which is like a donation place here, and that's where it's cheaper because you may be buying $100 worth of jackets, one jacket, and then in Goodwill it might be $10 or less.
Yes
So
po.
yeah, and they're
And also po doon sa Burlington, Ross,
they're also cheaper.
and I know Mamirna can prove it. I know one Mamirna is one of the
Best shoppers.
loyal shoppers there.
Just be careful about addiction though, because it's very easy to get addicted to it. To like, oh,
Yes.
I can shop and it just give you that high, I went through that where I cannot wait to go to the mall or to the to shop. Now I'm so sick of it. Like I had a store for 14 years, and so I had to buy for my store, and I'm like, don't even, I don't want to go shopping at all. So now if I need something, two, three things, I go get it, but I'm not gonna go like before. I would do 4 hours of like just going through the aisles and really looking at something that I might like, but not anymore. It doesn't give me as much pleasure now. Maybe I'm getting old. I'm closer to 60, so. But yeah, hey, Myrna, talking about the Myrna and Joel, are they here, Mike?
Ah,
Yes po,
Yeah.
they
Hey,
are.
yeah, I'm
Myrna.
here. I'm Doc.
Did,
Yes, hi.
oh, we love your hair.
Good morning. What, Doc?
Love your
Good
hair.
morning.
Change of hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Actually, speaking of buying from Ross and Burlington, it's fine because Michael knows that I am a practical and a wiser buyer. I don't spend much. I know my limit. We know my limit, especially my how do you say that? Joel would say, okay, this is just our limit and not only it. But if MJ says, "Mommy, I want to buy this," then Joel and I will have to give up. Okay, we buy the next payday.
Yeah. Well, and I think waiting for the kids so they won't be spoiled, I think is a good idea. I never spoiled mine. My kids were like, they
Yeah.
would go to the store and I would say, okay, you have money that they would get from birthdays or whatever. You can spend your money because they are so tight when it's their money, right? And so I said, there's a limit. But when they were little, $1, $5, I would give them a limit and they have to earn it through, chores and stuff that they had to really work for it. I do not just spoil them, although I had the money, but I did not want to spoil them and thinking that everything is just going to be easy. I never did that to my kids, and I'm so glad because these two are so grateful and are so, they're just, they're just not spoiled, which, I have to brag on them, but they are not spoiled. And so that's a good way that you're going to have them to wait. It's a good idea
Yes.
because our
Yeah.
teacher, their parents here, Filipino friends of mine, that have actually spoiled their kids because, we were so poor in the Philippines and we want to give them what we didn't have. But that's going to be a disservice to our children because they're going to end up thinking when they become adults that things will just be given to them, that they don't have to earn it. And they may not want to work because they're lazy because when they were growing up, the parents just give them everything and they didn't have to work. Well, Jet, we put him to work. We own a car wash when he was growing up in high school. So after high school, it's just across the road from the high school, he would go and clean all the base. He would clean it. There's mud and all that. He would spray it with hoses and all. He cleans every one of them, and we paid him. So he got paid on Fridays, but he earned that because then he knew how hard it is. It's not easy to earn that money, and so which means that it's going to be harder for him to like, oh my gosh, should I spend this when I work so hard on this? And now this kid is like a saver. He really saves, because I think dad is a good influence because I'm the spender, he's the saver. So so yeah, I think that's a very good idea. One thing, even Myrna, and it's really good for fit, is they said to budget, they would have like an envelope. Look, an envelope for food, budget for the month, an envelope for the utilities, an envelope for shopping, and all that. That way you'll have it already, budgeted. And in that way, if there's no more money in that envelope, then they're done. You need to wait for the next payday or whatever. Some people would actually physically do that. I know we can do that in our head, but it's much more meaningful if you have it, if we have it in cash, for example, because that would really, show you that hey, no more, wait for it. Because in America, we have the credit card thinking that, oh, that's okay. We don't have the, but then we'll just charge it. But then you get into the pit of charging and then you cannot pay it on full when it comes. Then that's how your test is that I cannot afford it because if the bill comes, in a few days, if I could not pay it all, then you're living beyond your means. And I went through that too. So so you'll be careful of that if you charge on your credit card, and this is something that happens to a bunch of the Filipino teachers, because you will get a credit card here, and it's pretty much a must, seems like, because you cannot go to check in a hotel without a credit card. You cannot rent a car without a credit card. If you travel at all, you're gonna have to have that credit card. Just be careful. If there's $1,000 limit, then you need to not spend more than 300 on that without paying it all off. Because I think 30% utilization will be good for your credit. You want to build up that credit because when you first come here, you zero out. No credit means bad credit. So you have to build that. And then why it's good to have good credit, like 750 or above number, is that the banks will give you a loan. If you have a very low number, some of them will not give you a loan, or if you're buying a car with that one, the interest rate would be so high. So the better your credit rating, the better your interest. If you do an installment, right? Did you find that, Myrna? What did you find out about that? Do you agree with?
Oh, yeah. Yes, yes, Doc. I told Joel just the other day, yesterday, I received the summary of my credit card record. And it says, I told Joel, oh, there's no interest, there's nothing, just expenses. And okay, so somehow, because when we came here, we thought that we can convert our credit score from Qatar. And
No,
we were so confident when we go to the car shop, we were so confident if we can convert it. But
no,
anyway, we have to go back to zero.
start over.
And we are now starting to build up our credit limit. And with God's grace, we are within our target. And talking about the savings, we just agreed with MJ that on a weekend he will do household chores. And
Good.
he said, my goodness, my son got his culture. And I said, will I be paid for that? And we
Yes,
said,
well,
yes, you will be paid, but it's like this. Half of the payment will go to you straight, but half will be saved.
yeah.
Because
Well, you were very generous because we told Jet 10 2080. He can spend 20% and 80% goes. And I don't know if he still goes with that, but that's what how strict Dwayne was. And I told he even said 1090, and I'm like, that's not very much. So then he went to 2080. So
Let
20% you
them
can
say
spend. I very good son, by the way. You know, when he sees me there at Brinkley, he would always do the kissing the hand thing.
yes,
He
yes,
always does that, and the other kids are like, why does he do that? It's so funny because some of them would say, can I do that too? You know, so I have to
yes.
teach them the meaning of it, you know? Yeah.
Mm.
The MJ's doing good, right? He likes you like the school there? You like the Brinkley school, yeah? Good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that helps that you have
Yes,
Mike's daughter as your classmate. You seem to like they go
yes.
together everywhere. Yeah.
Mike's family, the entire family really is a big help to us.
Yeah. Well, I see them together. They were like, I think Mike's daughter is really popular too. The boys are like, after her, but then here's MJ's like the little, okay, you did stay away because MJ's
Oh,
over there with her all the time, which is good, I think. Mike, so
and MJ
you
would
got
tell
an extra support there.
and
Yeah.
MJ would tell me, "Hey, mommy, Doc Marlena visited our classroom, and she gave me candy. She gave me two, and she gave
Everybody won. I said, shh.
she
Yeah.
did too."
So anyhow, yeah, we cannot show them that you favor the Filipino kids, but you cannot help it. I'm so glad that you brought your kids here because otherwise you would be so sad, missing them. And yeah, right? Can you imagine living here without him here? You'll be miserable because you will be thinking about, oh, what he's doing now. I know sometimes, a lot of times they will be left with grandparents or whoever, that you love, that they're going to be taken care of. But it's so different when it's your parents. That's why
Yeah.
I'm glad, like Abby, for example, she brought three of her kids here out of the four. She left the baby there. I'm so proud that they did that because that's, t talking to them is so different than having them and hugging them and also they're living the American life. They're here as teachers in America. Why are you kids not living the American dream as well? They're practicing their English. Even if they decide to go back later, you have 5 year limit on your J1. So even if you decide to I'm going to save for 5 years and I'm going to go back to the Philippines and retire there, even if you do that, you still need to maybe have them to experience that because, people only dream about coming to America. And here you have the opportunity because whenever you are approved, your spouse will be J2. You have to be married, of course. And then your kids are going to be part of that, right? So they're just going to be like a ride on that, like part of your application. When you get approved, they get approved, right? The J2 get approved. Is that right, Mike and
Yes,
Myrna?
po. Yes, po. Yes, po.
So I know it's going to cost you money. How much would it cost to bring a child here? Do you remember? I know Mike and
I
Myrna
think
have,
Ma'am Mirna can answer that.
yeah, Myrna,
Because
you
in my situation po, as an H1
H1B for
teacher
you.
and my H4, we paid 474 for each
Kid. That's not
person
bad
po
because, yeah, because
in the reciprocity plus the visa interview 190.
it's pretty
So they
cheap for
are
you.
three
Yeah.
as well. And actually, to be honest nga po, Doc, the airfare is more expensive than the visa.
Yeah, because it's like what? About one way, right? So it's like what, 1,005 possibly?
It depends po on the
85,
date of
80,000
your
pesos.
flight. Yes.
Yeah. And the farther that you plan, like if you are doing 1 month ahead or 2 months ahead, the cheaper. But if you're buying it a week from now, then it's gonna be more expensive. So the closer you fly, the more expensive. So when we go
Mm-hmm.
to Philippines, I always plan it 2 months before I buy the tickets already.
Mm-hmm. And then I think, Mamirna, you mentioned yesterday, I think yesterday, that we must be careful, you must be careful about your visa sponsor because some of the visa sponsors are not allowing you to apply your dependents or your J2 once you are applying for your J1, right, Mamirna?
Is that right? What
No, no, no,
what
no, 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 Doc, no, no. They are allowing, the visa sponsors are allowing. It's just that I'm not so sure because unlike for us, we travel together. There are
Mhm.
those
Yeah.
visa sponsors that will let you wait for 2 months first for you to adjust.
Yeah,
For,
that's
for,
yeah,
for
that's what
other
I'm
visa
talking. Yeah.
sponsors, you can
Mm,
just, you can just bring the entire family with you, but others would have to wait. We would have to ask you to wait for a couple of weeks, a couple
mm.
of months.
Do you know which visa
Mm-hmm.
sponsor was having you to wait? Do you know the names?
I am
No.
not, I don't remember. Yes, yes, Doc. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And the
Mm-hmm.
common, if you have that list of the visa sponsors, I think Mike can also paste it down there on the chat. Then make sure that if you are using anybody at all, you need to make sure they are on that list. Okay, because if they're not on that list, they're a third party agency, and all that they can do is help you with the paperwork, and you can do that as teachers. You just, you
And
can, but it's the them they still need to contact the visa sponsors for you, and you can do that
And
direct.
another thing, Doc Marlena, is that for the update for the aspiring teachers here in the USA, please be very careful because there are those agencies who would tell you to pay this much, pay this
3,000,
first,
4,000,
because
yeah. Mhm.
yes, pay me, and then I will get. And I've heard that others would have to pay 500,000. My God, that's big amount. They would say, pay me, and I will give you the link where you can possibly apply it, only to find out that it's the same link that the teachers are also applying directly. So, if you can do it direct, if you can do direct application, that would be better.
Yeah,
And then
I,
if
I
the
always say that.
student, yes,
The
and then
only
if you-
Yeah. The only third party agency that I would recommend is the Minga House. Minga House is by Glenn, and he is a nonprofit. So and he's a friend of mine. I have actually Zoomed with him a few times, and he could help me. You could, if you really need one, you let me know, and I will get you in touch with Glenn, because Glenn will not charge you a lot. It's not very much. And he always looks for sponsors that would actually help you pay. So he's really big on he's an advocate for teachers. He really, and he's been in business for more than 15 years, and he had helped thousands of people already. And in fact, he's inviting me to go to Colombia. That's where he's based. He's American, but he's now based in Colombia. He said, Dr. Molina, you need to come and visit us. And I'm like, you don't know what you're saying. I may be just showing up there one of these years. But yeah, he's got like a compound there where he would teach teachers, and he would put you up, like you stay there, and then it's just like a little university, except it's like for the organization. It's a nonprofit. And so I am curious about what it looks like, and he said, so, we might do that, because I've been wanting to learn Spanish anyway more. And so that's a Spanish country there. And so he's very fluent in that. But yet he would be the only one that I would say, okay, Glenn can help you. And that's one thing also that he can do, is he could also check if the school will qualify, for the J1 visa. He can check that for you. He's got lots of resources he could do. And in fact, I think I have posted his, if you Google Minga House, Minga House, you will see his website, and that's Glenn, Galindo. That's the owner. That's the founder. So yeah, that's the only one. But other people, they would charge $6,000-7,000, guys. And what they can do is they're just contacting the visa sponsor, and you can do that yourself. Okay, or they will help you with the application. We're teachers. We can read applications, and
Yes.
or getting a
And we
lawyer.
can do DIY po, right? We
Yeah,
can do
DIY is the
DIY.
best. Yeah, because
Read and read.
right,
Yeah,
because
watch Doc Merlina's videos. Everything are discussed there. How to
yeah,
apply.
we do. And what happened is that my sister works for immigration. My brother-in-law works for immigration, so they're both of them. And of course, they cannot help us because they're assigned to the other countries. But basic questions, he would actually send me a link. Marlena, read this, and this is will answer your question. So they would do things like that for me. So I've got resources that I could ask. But you can also Google them things. If you Google, and just put it in quotation mark, you can find it. If you, for example, if you're looking for the U.S. For the immigration forms, you can just put immigration forms and in quotation mark, and you would list you all the forms and how much it is and so on, the instructions. So read the instructions fully, because if you can, but he said, you don't need to have a lawyer, to hire a lawyer, unless you got some really complex situations. Like whenever you get here and people were, having problems with trying to renew or whatever, and they really have problems, very, different situation, they might hire a lawyer for complicated stuff like that. But other than that, just regular application, I would recommend you read it, and read the instructions, and look at the evidence. You can ask me for, I have some paperwork too that list all the documents you should have, and the links to it. So you could ask me for his resources, and I don't charge for that. So yeah, so just McCulloughMarlena@gmail. Okay. All right. So thank you, Mike. We didn't mean to spend it on that, but I think that really helps, because that's going to help you know what to do when you come here. That I can bring my family, and a bunch of people would actually choose to wait 2, 3 months, sometimes 6 months, because they want to save money in order for them to actually get a bigger place. For example, they may be rooming with 3 or 4 people by themselves, but then later on, when their family comes, they will get their own apartment. I think that's Mike and Myrna did. Did you work? You lived there for a while together, right? What, 1 month or 2 months?
Yes po, Doc.
Yeah. In order for them to like get their own apartment after. So that helps.
Mm.
Yeah. All right.
For
So
them to adjust, of course, yes.
yeah, I think so too. Okay, so we have looks like some new ones. So we have Julianne and John, Marvin, Leo, Nika. Now, any of you, Precious, you need to go ahead and pop up, if you want to talk. Or you can
Yes.
put your name there on the chat and Mike will call you in order. But yeah, if you can do that, because this is your opportunity to like actually practice your English. Okay, and I get your recorded talking because when you use me as a reference, I would like to have a video of you talking. And some of you have actually sent me like a 2-minute video of your introduction, and that's a good thing too, a link to it. And I've actually included that on your when I send the database to administrators, I would actually have a column of like your name, your degree, numbers of years experience, and then your what's your the link to your folder, because every one of you will have a folder, and then the link to your video if you have that. So then all they have to do is click on it, and then they will see everything you've sent me. Some people, would send their friends letters. Some people would do their FCE. You don't have to really do that unless they ask for that. I would just want resume and cover
Yes.
letter. Resume and cover letter are all the 2 things that I need from you, which means you don't have to spend money yet. But if you're really serious about this, you might want to go ahead and apply for your passport already, because passport expires what, 5 years, 10 years? What is it in here? In the US, it's 10 years. What is it in
10
Philippines?
years, yeah, 10
10
years. 10
years.
years,
Yeah.
5
So I
years,
would I
10
would go ahead,
years.
and that's one thing I would actually save for if I were a Filipino applicant, is that go ahead and get your passport. Because
Passport, yes.
yeah, because if it's gonna take longer, right? And then your FCE is another must. Your foreign credential evaluation, that's gonna be a need for everyone. So those 2 things, I think, that's what a passport is about, what, $100? How much would it cost? 5,000 pesos or less?
I don't know now here in the Philippines po. You can
Okay.
share about how much is the passport in
900, 1,200 for expedite,
Oh, that's not
Doc.
bad.
Okay.
That's not bad. That's
Yeah.
like
Yes po.
that's like
It's
20
around,
bucks. So 30 bucks.
yeah,
So
20 bucks. Yeah, 20
it's
bucks,
not
yeah.
bad at all. So here it's much more expensive here. I think 130 was the last one I paid when I did mine. But yeah, US things used to be the application, like when I got mom here in 1990, her applications were only 100 something, and then her for when she became a citizen is 100 something. Now it's multiplied by 10 or more. It's more than 1,000. Everything is more than 1,000 here. So it's more expensive now. So anyway, all right. So who wants to talk?
Mm.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I think Sir Leo.
There, Leo, yeah. Leo, have I spoken to you before? Oh, you are you
Yes,
muted? Oh, yeah, I have. You look
I,
familiar to me. Yeah. Tell
I
us,
did.
remind us about you and where you
All
are.
right. Okay. This is my third time to join this group, and I am glad to meet again,
Okay.
Dr. Melina and the team, because again, I have to practice my English. I remember that you have comment on the way I speak. So you asked me if I have been to a what do you call that? A TOEFL, something like that. But
If you have
yes,
taken your
my
TOEFL.
name. Yeah.
Okay.
I have to introduce myself once again. My name is Leo Siasis. I'm an educator from the Philippines with a Bachelor of Elementary Education degree, specializing in education and in English as my area of concentration. And I have decided over a decade of my professional life to nurture young minds in the classroom setting. Throughout my teaching career, yeah, it's a life nurturing young minds in the classroom setting. Throughout my teaching career, I have had a privilege of instructing a diverse range of subjects like mathematics, science, English, and music and arts, history, and physical education. And I love physical education. As I remember, you asked me how I taught this subject. Of course, I have to teach this subject and in the form of playing and all other subjects. So this comprehensive experience has equipped me with a well-rounded understanding of the multifaceted needs of elementary students. And I am passionate about creating and engaging inclusive learning, as I have noticed that you have asked about the inclusivity or the term inclusiveness, because in the Philippines, our students, these children are undiagnosed. So we probably presume that our classroom is preoccupied with students with disabilities, and I have noticed that. And I believe that fostering a critical thinking problem and solving communication skills through interactive and hands-on learning experiences. And I am committed to um, staying abreast of the latest pedagogical approach and incorporating innovative teaching strategies to enhance students' learning outcomes. And yeah, beyond my classroom responsibilities, I am an active member of the educational community. In fact, I joined some webinar, and not only this, but I have joined few. So I'm eager to contribute professional development initiatives and collaborative with fellow educators to share best practices and enhance the quality of education in the city of Cagayan de Oro. And I am confident that my experience, my dedication, and enthusiasm to teach these young children will make me a better version of myself, a good educator, and a valuable asset to an educational institution here in my city.
Good job. Yeah, you're very fluent, which is good. You may want to lower all this list things, because I would rather have you choose like three things that you want to say and then give examples. Okay, so for example, you said something about being well-rounded and all that. So you want to say, why, how does that look like? Okay, so if you say interactive, all that, how does it look like? For example, in my classroom, in whatever, you do this. In games, you said about playing. So, for example, in science, when I taught science, I did games and simulations. So we use the website, whatever, and then my students were doing this, and we had experiments at least once a week or twice a week. Give examples of your own classroom, because otherwise it'll just be list. Okay. And I would, if as an administrator, I was a former administrator, principal, and curriculum director, I would rather hear somebody would tell them about their classroom experiences, although you did really say some really great things about the key terms that I want to hear. I just want more examples, I guess. That's what my comment is. But fluency is really good for you. And I could say, and although I know you have notes, but you did a good job of actually not like just staring at your notes. You actually were changing your eyes and all that, and make it like, just talking to me. So, but if you really just think of 3 bullets, that way you don't have to look at anything. 3 bullets and give examples. And that way you'll just be talking to me. For example, in my classroom, one year I did this, another year I added to this, whatever. So if you do that, then it's like visiting with us. Okay? And that
All
might
right.
be much more. Yeah. And you also did not say, what your degree was. You said you have more than 10 years of experience, but what was your degree in?
I am a graduate of Bachelor in Elementary Education,
Okay.
and that's my uh, concentration.
Okay. But you don't have your master's?
I do my master's now as a special education,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, you
before
need to
that,
mention that. Yeah, you should mention that. Okay. So I have my bachelor's in elementary, and I am in the process of getting my licensure in special ed, or a master's in special ed. You would say that. I said my anticipated graduation date is, and that way they'll know where you are in the process. Okay. So that's missing right there. Okay. Remember that. But other than that, you'll be so awesome on the interview, because I know that you got your words there without stopping too much, whatever. Just add those examples and you'll be awesome. Okay? You're already doing good right now. Yeah. And I love that you said something about your beyond the classroom things, that you are, you love PDs, you love to collaborate with other professionals. That's really good, because you want to know what a teacher does outside your classroom. So if you ever play a sport or coach a sport, or interested in coaching because you have played it. Like I was a chess player all my life, so I coach chess here. I didn't get paid extra. I just volunteered to play, to have students K-12 to play chess. I have up 70 plus students every Tuesday and Thursday in the cafeteria. We're playing chess, and I had parents help me. And so those are things, those are things that you could say an example. I know I have not coached anything, but I'm interested in coaching volleyball. Volleyball is really big here. Wrestling is big here. Soccer and basketball, of course, football. I don't know if you do the football there, but those things like that are gonna be good because that's gonna be an extra plus for you. Because they will pay you extra, by the way, for those sports. They will pay you extra because it's after hours. But if you're really big and interested in that, what they usually do is make you an assistant. And in that way, you learn from that coach. And then later on, the coach might retire or move on. And then you'll be the main coach. So yeah, that's always what they say. I don't know if Mike did this volleyball thing. Mike, were you already the volleyball already, or did they make you an assistant first?
When I was in Helena po, I was the head coach both of junior high school and senior high school. So I received different payments for that.
Yeah,
And
that's
now
really
in
nice.
Brinkley, yes po, in Brinkley, we will start this school year
Mhm.
because you remember I arrived there late.
Okay, yeah. So how much money is that, Mike? The extra?
I remember 665.
6,005?
Yes po,
That's pretty
6,000.
good. That's
665.
what was that? That's 300 something thousand pesos, just extra money on top of you getting about 2.5 million start here is what you do
Mhm.
for 9 months. So yeah, 2.5 million peso is what the pay is. $50,000 is the start of pay in Arkansas. And you're gonna find more in Texas, pays more. Some other states would pay more, but of course you have to remember that they are going to be higher rent as well. So you have to balance that expense. Arkansas is one of the lowest um, standard of living, which means that our rent is lower, like half of some of the states. And I think Mike knows this because he visits the teachers in other bigger areas where their rent is twice Arkansas, right? To more than 1,000, 1,005, 2,000 in some places. So they may pay you more, but then you also would spend more. So you might want to do the math before you start deciding. Okay, because I think
Yes.
a common rent in Arkansas is maybe less than 1,000, 750, 800. That's
Yes
already
po.
a nice house. But in most places, like a capital of some states, they would be twice that, 1,600 or whatever. So it's,
It
yeah,
depends upon the sometimes it's
area,
apartment and sometimes it's a house.
the
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
We are renting here only for 400 450 a month,
Yeah.
2 bedrooms. Yes po.
Yeah.
And it's a
Yeah,
house.
because
And
Arkansas
for
is like a
Mamirna, I
province.
remember po Mamirna is paying 850. That's a school district housing for
Brand
the
new. Yeah.
teachers.
Yeah. And
It's
is your
fully
place
furnished.
bigger? Myrna, is
Mhm.
your place bigger than Mike's?
Yes, Doc. This is a three-bedroom, two-story house.
Okay.
With two toilet and bath,
Mm-hmm.
and with other extra rooms, the pantry, the laundry room,
Yeah. So
and
it's
a
big, it's a
big,
big
big
place.
area. Yes,
I want to see that
fully
in
furnished.
person.
School district
Yeah,
provided,
yeah.
right, Mamirna?
I thought yes, yes. We are
Yeah.
still waiting for you, Dr. Melina. The
Yeah.
room is waiting for you.
Okay. Well, thank you. I may not stay the night because usually I have a room already in the hotel, but which I
Okay.
prefer. But even don't take it personally because even when I visit families, I would rather stay in hotels. But anyway, but that's okay. I would like to come and maybe eat Filipino foods with you. So one
Yes,
of the days.
Dr. Melina.
You're only
No
three
worries.
hours away from me, so that's not bad at all. Yeah.
And we still haven't been to your place.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so but you do come here. So you've been here to my house, right? Yeah.
Not
Not
yet,
yet.
Oh,
not
not
yet.
yet. Oh,
No.
Still
we keep
planning.
Yeah.
planning, I think, and you
Too many
didn't.
plans I did not pursue. But anyway, I'm still waiting for Erwin, for the West Memphis people to come here, and then we'll go and visit your area, and we go to West Memphis and have our picture
Pamina,
taken. Yes, hi
Oh, there's
Erwin.
Erwin. This is part of
I'm
the
not,
13,
I'm
the
just
13.
listening to you guys in
Yeah, yeah.
terms of that.
So Erwin, when are you coming to Arkansas?
Hindi ko pa alam do kasi nag-a-adjust pa din ako.
Okay, so you just
I
adjusting.
don't know.
Actually,
So you're in Iowa.
Probably
In Iowa.
probably next year kapag nakakuha na ng car.
What are you doing with
I don't
Tagalog?
know.
Some people are not understanding. People in the online would be like, "What is he talking about?"
yes.
Anyway,
Uh
he's a math
yeah.
teacher. High school math.
But
Mhm.
I realized that you're apartment, your house is much more cheaper than what we have here
Yeah, how much is
Mhm.
yours?
for rate.
I know you have a nice apartment.
1,240
Yeah, see,
per
it's very
month.
expensive. And there's two of you, so you're 600 apiece.
Yep, yep,
Yeah.
yep, Doc.
And so this that's
Plus,
only a two
plus
bedroom.
utility bills or what?
Is that part of it already? Oh, you have to pay more.
No,
That's
no,
just that's just
the
the apartment.
electricity, the water bill, the internet is not part of that 1,000. It's just the house.
Yeah. See? And Myrna, is yours part of it already, the 800?
Yes,
Oh
Doc,
my
all
gosh,
in.
so lucky because the
Yeah,
Yeah, because this is really the
yeah.
house prepared. This is really the house prepared by the school district, and they really want to have the teachers, a good area to stay in. When you are in a good place, you can plan better, and you can.
And you
But
stay.
this,
You also stay. You don't want to leave because
and
there's not very
yeah,
many
this
schools that would do
this
that
is one way, maybe yes, one way of having the teachers stay longer in the
area.
admin, and the admin is very supportive, though.
Yeah.
Very,
You can
very
tell. You can
supportive.
tell if they build the buildings just for the teacher, that's really, you cannot find any better support than that. So you are
Yeah.
very lucky and blessed there in she's in Lee County District, which is in Mariana, Arkansas. So Lee County always has openings, seems like, right? It seems like you
Yeah.
have more turnovers there. I don't know why, but you do. So they every year it seems like they've always needed some Filipino teachers. So everyone, you might want to Google that and try to. What is the website name for your school? Do you remember?
I'm sorry, Doc.
You don't
I don't
remember?
remember the website
Yeah, they
because
just
I
need to.
applied directly in email.
Yeah, you just need to Google Lee
Yes,
County and
tell me.
then Arkansas. If you do
But
that, then
they
you
have
will
to do
find it.
the VPN first before they have the access to the website.
I was okay, so there's pretty safe website. Okay, but that's still good to know if and you may want to also share in Zoom sometimes if you have any opening. Any of
Yeah.
those same thing with Irwin. Irwin is in Iowa, which is we have Arkansas and then Missouri and then Iowa. So we are separated by one state, the whole state before we
it's
go.
too cold, Doc.
Yeah, it's far.
Too cold.
Yeah, it's very cold in Iowa. Yeah, that is, and that's by now.
Yeah.
They call that corn country. That you had more corn in Iowa than anywhere.
Yes, that's
And
true.
the Arkansas is rice country. We actually have more rice in Arkansas than anywhere. So yeah, so
Mhm.
you have lots of corn to feed the pigs usually. That's what
And
they.
they said the best meat in the United States or even in the world is
Yeah.
found in Iowa.
Yeah, because they feed them corn and they feed them, grains, and so they
Mm-hmm.
will produce better meat. Yeah, I have, the Virginia farms in the Philippines, right? Very popular Virginia farms. Well, the owner of that are the Chongbians. Chongbian was my classmate, one of my best friends in high school when I was in the Philippines, and he is in pig business. So he said, Marlena, I go to Iowa, Tamara. He would call me Tamara, which is my last name. You know, Tamara, I go to Iowa pretty often. So I don't know how many times a year, but I said one of these years you're gonna have to come visit me in Arkansas. You're just gonna have to get that extra flight, and I'll meet you because we've not seen each other since high school. That's 30 years. You know, so I do talk to him whenever I'm in the Philippines. I wanted to meet his family, but we never had a schedule to meet because when I was there last time, he was in the US. So anyway, yeah. So Iowa is a nice place, but cold. Oh my gosh. Do you have snow outside right now?
No, Doc, but
Oh,
I think that was last Tuesday.
okay.
Mm-hmm. But
It
it
was.
already melted.
Yeah, ours still melted. And in Arkansas, we have we're such chicken here that even if there's like a little snow, they're out of school. They close the school 2 days, whatever. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, they do that. Sometimes they would even close school because there's anticipation of snow and then the snow did not happen and they already cancel school. It had happened like that before. They just do not want the
But
kids to be stuck.
right now, Doc, I think the school and the city is already. I mean, they are already ready with these scenarios. So
Mhm.
even if there's a snow,
They're
we
still
still have
on it.
our classes.
Yeah, because you're in Iowa. Iowa's used to that.
Yeah.
We're not. We're not used to snow in
Not,
Arkansas.
yeah, not like Sir Jeff and Sir Jmar. They do not have their classes once they have that
Little snow.
snow last week.
Also us
I think it
here,
was last week or the other week.
Same with Myrna, I
also us
think.
here
Little
in
little
West.
snow and they're out,
You're
huh?
so lucky, guys.
But the
In
last
most
time we had was, I think the last time we had was 12-inch thick.
Whoa, ours was 8 here. But do you know that most school districts in Arkansas would actually put snow days? Snow days are like 5 or 10 days that they put in their school calendar, so that if they have 5 days of snow, they still do not need to add any days. They already build it in. So those are snow days. So they, one year it was so snowy that we had to use our spring break. That year we did not have any spring break because after they used the snow days, then they took the spring break days. And that's, some schools, some parents do not like that because they may plan cruises or other trips and they have to cancel it. So then other schools would do Saturday school to pay for it. They would go, if they did need 3 Saturdays, they would do 3 Saturdays to go to Saturday school. Of course, you don't get very much students whenever you do Saturday school, but at least the school can say we are open, you know. So yeah, those are things that we have to deal with in America that we don't have to deal in the Philippines, right? In the Philippines, we have floods possibly, right? We have one monsoon season. Do you cut off school because of flood sometimes? No. Landslides maybe? Yeah.
Typhoon
Yes, we
po.
do.
I think
Typhoon,
there's
yeah, they're out for typhoon. That's
yes.
right. We don't have to have that. Tornado, we have that here. Of course, right now, if you see the news, the California, lots of fire there.
Fire.
They even burnt the whole school down, so that's really sad. Thousands, billions of dollars that they have, that they are now out. Really rich people in Hollywood and all that are now homeless. Of course, they have big insurance, so I'm sure they have, they get the money back, but still, you lose everything that you have worked for. I watch the news all the time and it makes me so sad, to see that people are losing their homes. And, not all those people are actually rich. There are a bunch of them that are also poor, that they are homeless in the streets. The rich ones are lucky because they have insurance and the insurance will just pay them. But some of those folks, poor ones in poverty, their insurance, either they cannot afford insurance or their insurance cancel them before the fire. And so here they are, a good thing in America, we do have help from the government. They always help, they do not just, leave you alone. They actually would help you. But anyway, so those are some things that we are sharing this because we want you, the teacher applicants from the Philippines, to know what's going on here and what to expect. From the rent information to what you do with your family here and how your kids do at school, where I noticed that the kids in school are very successful, like the Filipino kids, and correct me if I'm wrong, Myrna, Mike, that the kids here are very successful. Leslie, for example, her daughter is like one of the top readers, or if not the top reader in their school. And she just arrived here like a year ago or two, and she is the top in their school. And I'm very proud of her to hear that your Filipino child, that's English as a second language, is, the top in the school. And that's really common. That's very common to see that our children, you don't ever worry about them not performing here. I was so worried when I came here and I already had 2 years of college in, San Jose, USJR. I was in USJR. I was a pre-law. And I came here and I'm like, oh my gosh, what will I do, starting in the US? I was all A's, I was president's list all the way to my doctorate. So it's doable. I think the only B, I know I'm lying because it was one B that I had when I was pregnant with Stephanie. And I was throwing up every morning and I could not attend that one class. And I had an 89. And this teacher was so awful. They did not even round up to 90. But yeah, that's the only B ever in my life that I have received. From the Philippines, I didn't have one. And here I got that one B. But it's still, you still have a very good high, thing. Although when we interview people, when we look at the records, I never paid attention to the grades. I never paid attention to what their grade average was. Never. I looked at the courses, like, do they have all the requirements that we're supposed to have? If you're a math teacher, do you have the math degree? And do you have the experiences that we have? I didn't worry about what your grade was. I mean, at least I in here, that seemed to be not a focus, but because we never had we never had a discussion between the other administrators to say, hey, let's hire this because this has higher grade point average. No, we went with the interview. We like this one because this person is a better fit for our school. Notice how this teacher answered this question. Those are the things that we actually discussed before we decided on who to hire. We looked at your personality, at your knowledge, and how you answered questions, how you give examples. It's very obvious that you love kids, you're passionate about kids, and can you see her face or his face that's so excited whenever you ask a question? They were like, you can just see that they are just, they're just really enthusiastic about this. The more of that, the better that your chance is. Because if you like, oh, like this, and you look like you don't even, you're not even awake, don't do that. You need to make sure that you are very excited, you cannot wait to do that, and you answer them honestly. If you don't know the answer, you say, I'm sorry, I do not know that, but I know I can ask Dr. McCullough, Mike, I know I have resources I could ask, but right now I don't know that answer. And you will be honest about that, but I know I'll look for it. I will have resources, I would do that. But then you ask them, I said, so how does it work in the US? What would the local teachers would say about this? You can turn around and say that because you're just visiting with each other. But do not ever just make up something because you don't know. I would rather have an honest, interviewee to tell me I do not know right now, because then it shows that you have growth mindset. I don't know that yet. Yet is a favorite word for growth mindset folks. YET, because you are growing and you don't know that yet. Nobody has all the knowledge in this world. I could never say that I know of anyone other than Jesus, that would know every answer in this world. So it's okay for you to say, I don't know. And I've said that to my students. I've taught elementary and high school, and I told my fourth graders, you know what? Miss McCullough do not know the answer to that. But you know what? Give me one day. I'll tell you the answer tomorrow. If not, I'm going to give you all candies or whatever, because you have your good spy, you got me on a question. Because, and of course, when I promise, I have to do that. If I still don't know, I'm like, okay, I do not know. So you get candies or whatever, but I will ask my husband, I will continue to find the answer, so don't ever just lie to them that I know, yeah, really. Don't you think, Mike, do you agree that if you don't know, just
Yes
say,
po, Doctor. Do you remember it about the IDEA? Then I don't, to be honest, I don't have any idea about
That's
IDEA,
what, yeah,
but
Mike.
like
The
what I just
IDEA is the special ed acronym for the rules
yes,
about special ed. And so Mike, I
education.
was sharing Mike all these links about IDEA, but then he was already gonna be interviewed. So that's when they
Yeah.
ask you about idea, but then he said,
Yes po,
I
and the
have an
idea and IDEA.
IDEA.
Good thing that we discuss. Good thing that we discuss. We're discussing that during our masters. Classes in master and my MA in SPED.
Yeah,
But I
because
did not elaborate it a lot there.
yeah, because a good example is that you say, although I have my special ed degree, but I know every country has a different rule. So you are not familiar with the rules of the United States yet, but you may have read up on it. I have read some of it, but I know I don't have all the information. But as a teacher, special ed teacher, I know that my job is to make sure that I differentiate and I add and I follow the IEP, individual educational plan, in order for me to meet the needs of my student and legally, follow the laws in order to say, what your accommodation there says, you do it. It doesn't matter what country you're from, you're going to be doing that. You're going to be addressing the needs of your children, right? So you can
Yes,
say that, although you didn't really answer the question, but you gave them an answer that's a more of a general thing that applies, right? About special ed or about teaching. That's
yes
what
po.
you do. Yeah. But it's very
And Doc,
normal. Yeah, go ahead, Giselle.
I also have an experience about that, Doc, with one of my interviews last year.
Go ahead. Do you want turning your camera on, or do you want to or not?
I'm sorry, look, I am outside and you cannot
It's
see me.
okay.
It's
Go
very
ahead.
dark
Yeah,
outside
go ahead.
because of my internet.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah,
share your
I just
experience.
forgot about the question. I think it's about the collaboration of the teachers there in the school. I think it's in Hope. I think that's why what with my interview with Hope, and I really don't have idea. So I told the one that asked me that I'm really sorry, I don't have idea of this question. I haven't had this one yet, and said she explained it to me, and I said, oh, we have that in the Philippines. It's about the collaboration of the teachers. See, here in the Philippines, it's called the LAC session, Doc. It's a
Oh,
learning action cell. It's a collaboration of the teachers. Like we have it every Friday, when we share the things that we experience in the classroom. I think it's a more on your personal and the professional growth part.
very good.
So
See,
yeah.
I love that you answer them the details about that, Giselle, just like I said, you do, and then you give them the equivalent in the Philippines. For example, you're gonna say something about the character education, and what do you call that there? What would you call the character
that
education? There's a Tagalog.
It's LAC, Doc. It's Learning Action Cell.
Okay, so yeah, it's the similar.
LAC.
Yeah. So that's what they would say. And then you can find the equivalent in the Philippines because it's going to be called differently, possibly, like in this situation, right, Giselle? So yeah, you did a good job answering that. Did they nod their head and smile whenever you said that?
Yes, Doc.
Yeah, they
But
did.
unfortunately, we're not.
Yeah.
They didn't hire us.
I always read the nonverbal, the reactions, their nodding of the head, their smiles, and all that, and I would note that oh, I did good on that answer. Or if they have like confused look, I'm like, okay, what was that? How should I have answered that? So if you meet in that thing, please email me, and I'll be glad to give you the answer or help you get to the answer because sometimes it's just so different. I know that in the Philippines you do a lot more paperwork than here. Is that right? Mike and just Erwin,
Yes,
Mark,
Doc.
do you have more paperwork in the Philippines or here as a teacher?
In a regular class, Doc, I think we have more paperwork here in the
Yeah.
Philippines.
Yeah, that's what Leslie said. I think Leslie told me that it's a lot more paperwork, like double there in the Philippines. So here, the nice thing is we have apps for everything, and everything is digital. So like for example, like we have eSchool in Arkansas. We have eSchool that has all the student records and all the database of student information, and then like getting their attendance and also their lunch count. You just click, 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 boom, done. Okay, you don't have to like call everyone. You just like look around, like, okay, 3 people are absent. These are the three, and I mark it, and then I'm done. So very quick. You don't have to do a lot of paperwork. It's already automatic right there on the computer. So
Yes po, Doc.
yeah,
Also in the grades.
yeah, and the grades the
Teachers,
same way.
you don't need to write the grades.
Yeah, you can
The
enter it every
report card,
day. And
yes.
at the end of the day, you can just put the grades in there and it's already gonna be up there in the cloud. So you don't have to worry about, most people do not have the hard copy of a record book, like lesson plan book thing. And they don't. Everything is digital. So which means that if you are afraid of technology, you will have problems when you get here. You need to remember technology as your friend. Otherwise, if you don't think it that way, you're going to struggle. Because I have some people that came here and did not even know how to do a PowerPoint and did not know how to do like basic things like that. Please know those before you come here because it's very common practice here for students for teachers to do PowerPoint for their students. So of course don't do that all the time because that's boring. You need to do other ways to teach, not just PowerPoint every day. You don't want the students to say, I'm going to so and so's class. I'm gonna look at PowerPoint again. You need to make it different. Some hands-on, some all these different ways. Some simulations, games, different ways, rather than be predictable and you will do the same thing every time. Yeah, that's the boring thing. You be the fun teacher that everybody wants to be in. So yeah, there's Romelia, you have a question? You raise your hand. Romelia, right? Is that right?
Hi, Doc. Hi, Doc. Good
Yeah,
evening,
Romela.
Doc.
Romela, hey,
I
hey,
just
good
want to
evening.
share. It's Romella, Doc.
Oh, okay,
Okay.
Romela.
I just want to share something about about last time I was interviewed by a school director in Alaska, but that was way back to 2023. But I wasn't able to continue with it, though I was hired with Alaska in Northwest Borough District, I think. Then there was a problem financially, so I wasn't able to continue that one. That was 2023 December. So when the school director asked me about something like about residency or where I would be living there when I'll reach there,
Mhm.
so I misheard something and I answered uh another thing. Then I just realized that the question that I misheard the question later on. Then I asked him again, what was the question again, sir? Then
Yeah,
I
and
just
it's okay to
smiled
do
at it
that.
and
Yeah,
she just laughed at it and then, oh, no problem, that's okay. Then he gave the question again, and so I answered it properly and pretty well. So it's about residency, something like that. Then I misheard it.
yeah,
So I think it would be fine if you will just be honest about
yeah. Very good.
mishearing something,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
And I was really hired that time, Doc. No,
like it.
that was really depressing for me,
Oh,
2023. And then so I didn't lose hope, but 2024, I back down applying in the US. So I finished my master's degree first. So just recently, last December, I graduated my master's degree in teaching social studies. I
yeah,
finished last December,
congratulations.
and
Hmm.
now I'm back on track.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, uh, she told me about ETSA, and she told me to go with to listen to go with the Zoom meetings and to follow the page and something like that. And I also signed up with Binga House. So I signed up. I mean, every direct hiring, every link, I got into it
Yeah.
this year and last December. So I'm still hoping for a call or something like that
Yeah.
from
Well,
employers.
you're very fluent.
Yes,
So I could see you getting the job if you get interviewed. Yeah, good
I
job.
was I could say, Doc, that the school director that time in Alaska was really uh I mean, I'm not really amazed, but he was entertained by the way I speak, because I really speak from the heart. I don't have I won't do something like though I write my answer, but spontaneously I want to talk spontaneously
Yeah.
with my interviewer.
Hmm.
So everything, all the questions, I answered it well, because actually, Doc, I'm already an experienced teacher in social studies. I've been teaching for 22 years now here in the
Good job.
Philippines.
Hmm.
I finished my bachelor's degree in Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in social science from Cebu Normal University, that way back 2001.
Hmm.
And then I don't know what happened. I just finished my master's degree. I got married, and I focused on my teaching from private school to going to public school, and now I'm a regular teacher in the Department of Education Cebu City Division. I'm teaching now in my locality in Basa Community High School. I'm teaching senior high school now for 9 years. But prior to that, I was a teacher in junior high school from grade 7 to grade 10.
Okay.
So currently, I'm teaching grade 11 and 12, applied economics, and also contemporary Philippine arts.
Hmm.
I also taught personal development to my students. And also, I'm also a homeroom teacher of my grade 12 general academic strand students.
Okay.
So currently, and hopefully I could get a job or a job offer this year from any school district in the US.
Okay.
So I'm ready now.
Yeah, good.
So
Good for you.
I think I'm ready.
Yeah, good.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
God willing, I'm very much ready, physically, mentally, emotionally. But I was hoping, if I don't know, I didn't think of any financial loan, something like that last year. I was overwhelmed, and I just turned it down because there was a financial crisis happening in the family, and I just turned it down. I didn't think of any ways to acquire money that time. So this time I am going through different what do you call this one, consultancy, and listening to their what do you call this one, something like this, Doc ba, something like this na uh doing some seminars or webinars, and I was listening to a lot of it, so I'm learning a lot from the Zoom meetings and Google Meets that I'm into right now.
Very
So
good.
just this morning, I also joined a consultancy, something one of the consultancy here in the Philippines. Yeah, I was also learning a lot. And this time, I joined the ETSA Zoom meeting. So I'm very happy about this one, Doc. So I got interested. I got a lot of interesting facts, no, about everybody saying we're now in the USA. Actually, I
Yeah.
have a lot of friends already who are in the US.
Oh,
I
that's gonna
have
help you.
close friends who are already teaching in the US.
Hmm.
One is in the Bering District in Alaska.
Hmm.
And I also have a friend in Cleveland, in University of Cleveland Preparatory School.
Hmm.
And I also have a friend who is teaching in California.
Yeah.
So I am hoping that this year would be my year.
Yeah. Now,
Uh,
I hope so too for you. Have you sent your resume and cover letter to me?
I sent an email to you, Doc. Just
Okay.
earlier.
Okay,
I think then there was a link I answered,
yes.
but I wasn't able to finish it because my internet was down, so I wasn't able to finish it. I'm looking for the link again, so I don't know if I could find it. I would continue answering that something like, is that
The
from a
survey thing,
Google
the
on
survey, yeah.
a survey
You do
thing?
that. That helps
I'm
me
looking
know
for the
you.
link again.
Yeah.
Yes, Doc.
It's on that important links. Mike, do you have that important links document that I always send everyone? Let me find it while I have you.
Which link po?
I think I'm going to be able to
This
post
the
it right.
survey.
I think I'll do that right now. I put it on the chat, okay? This is the link that's really important. Because it has all the information about everything, from links to the job postings, links to interview in resources, links to my website and all that stuff. So if you have copied this chat this link and put it somewhere in your Google Doc or email it to yourself, because all the information, important information are in there. And so there's
Okay.
even some tips about resume and cover letter in there. Okay. And also the schedule and the
Okay.
link to the Zoom. So yeah, and I would recommend you sending me your resume and cover letter for those that are listening to this or attending this, because then you'll be on my list that I send, I send it all the time to the different administrators. So I send it to Arkansas administrators, to Texas, Tennessee, all the Louisiana, all the surrounding states. I've been targeting them because they are Missouri, because they are drivable for us. So you can still like see us or whatever, but of course some of them are farther away and they can fly in. But those are the ones that I actually had been sending regularly. So if you hear Springfield, Missouri is a big place and they might be looking for people all the time. Joplin, Missouri is another. Little Rock, Arkansas, North Little Rock, Arkansas. Those are some places that are always hiring. Okay, so if you look at this link and go under job postings, it has a Google sheet with 50 states, and then in that every state will have 10 to 20 different links to the schools that I have checked myself. I've checked every link, make sure that they are a good link to the websites for the school. So I would recommend you doing that. And I think Erwin is here. If Erwin's still here, he had, oh my gosh, sent a lot of application, and finally he's in Iowa. So it takes patience sometimes. Some of them would apply to 2 or 3 and they get the job. So depending on what you want to do or how lucky or blessed you are, but the more, to me, the better your chance. You're just increasing your odds. So, and for social studies teachers like you, Romela, I would say study the U.S. history and the world history,
Okay.
because those are the two things. And if you're going Arkansas history is one other one. So if you're going to whatever state you're going, I want you to study their state history, because those questions are going to be
Noted.
asked to you of you.
Okay.
Because that's going to be a disadvantage for international teachers if you don't know the U.S. history, if you're a social studies teachers. So they might say, well, do you know about the U.S. history? I've not taught it, but I have read, up, on all these resources about online about U.S. history, and I read about the major wars, major whatever, so you can give them example of what you've read. World history, whatever, you can tell them that.
Okay.
That way it shows that although you have not taught it, you have researched it. Okay, so that's one way that you could go around the question of like you don't have, we don't want to hire you because you don't have experience in teaching U.S. history or world history. Okay, so I would recommend that to all the history teachers to do that. Find the U.S., U.S. related stuff instead of just the Philippine, because you're not going to be teaching,
Okay.
the Philippine history at all. You can share, like equivalents possibly. In the Philippines, we do this, and you can do that with your students as examples. But the meat of your course will be U.S. history or Arkansas history or the state history, and in the world, depending on what grade you're going to teach.
Okay.
Okay? And
Actually, Doc, I we have a store here in the Philippines, the book sale store, wherein there are a lot of American books who are sold at a very low prices. So I often to book sale and buy American books. I also have a book of the American presidents. I have a lot of books during the. Actually, I taught world history before I got into senior high school.
good job.
So world
Say
history,
that.
which is the
Yeah.
American history, we tackle that also in world history here in
Good.
our curriculum
Yeah, but you need to
in
say
the
that. They said,
third grade. I
yeah.
mean, eighth grade.
Yeah, you say that I have not taught it, but I have so many books that I bought at
Yes,
bookstore.
yes.
And I would be impressed if you say that to me, like, oh my gosh, she goes above and beyond. And that's what you should say. Okay. And a lot of
Mm.
them also includes research. So resources and research, a lot of research as part of the curriculum. If you want to know the whole, the social study standards, you need to go to that link that I gave you, or you can Google social study standards and then plus Arkansas or plus whatever
Mhm.
the state is, and you can go to their Department of Education. So for Arkansas, it's Arkansas Department of Education. You Google that with quotation mark, and then you go to their under framework or standards, and then you can see that all the standards of all the different subjects. It's also a link to the important links that I just posted. It's also there. It's one of the resources I put in. And that's so important to know because you are able to see what are the things that should be taught at different grades. And then you can compare it to if it's similar or different than the Philippines. That's something that you would be so confident if you know the standards. Okay. So if you go out there in the interview and you don't have any idea what the standard says, or if you're familiar with the Common Core, most states are actually using Common Core, but although they would call it differently, like here, it would they call it Arkansas State Standards, but it's really based on Common Core. Okay, so if you're familiar with it's ccss.com or .org, I think anyway, Common Core State Standards, CCSS. You would be able to see what are the things that should be taught at every grade. Okay, so everybody be familiar with that because in a lot of times, if you are being asked about curriculum, those are in standards, they're going to be asking you about things they should know at different grades. Okay, and also, what else? They're going to be asking you about assessment. What do you know about assessment? How you need to answer them about like how do you know kids at the beginning of the year? You send surveys, you interview them, you do all this pre-assessment. And then before a lesson, you do a pre-assessment. And then what do you do during class? You're going to have formative assessment where you say things like raise your hand if you understood, or thumbs up if you understood. If you're confused, thumbs down. If thumbs sideways, but if you did not know, if you don't understand, use thumbs down. You need to say that because those are some formative assessment. When they do assessment, it's not just the written, it's not just the formal, it could be the informal observations and all that, as you know. And then, of course, they're going to be talking also about the summative, which is at the end of the year. I don't know if we do that in the Philippines, but we have a state testing here. And this is how they would compare one state to another. And they would compare the growth of students and the growth of schools and districts, is that through the state assessments. So and at the end of the year, usually around April, or I think March or April, they would do that, and they would pretty much test the kids on what they should have learned for that year. So what the standard says and have they covered or uncovered it. I usually tell teachers that you should not just be covering the subject. You should be uncovering. You have to tell students how to uncover, what deeper, so the rigor need to be deeper, and you need to have them have that understanding, not just a factual knowledge, not just a recall knowledge, but really, getting to the synthesis, which is like the evaluation and synthesis level on Bloom's, where they are actually doing projects, where they're creating things based on what you're doing. Okay, so when you get them to that level, they're going to understand it better. Okay, rather than just like, okay, let me tell you this fact so that you can pass the test. Those things are going to be deleted in our mind because it's not going to get ingrained in their brain, because it's going to be stored in the short-term retention. In order for it to be put in the long-term retention, the brain has to see patterns and connections, which means they're going to have to be tied to something that they would remember. So like projects, when you present, I did a monthly project whenever I was teaching. There's a monthly project that we did, and then they have a choice on the topic, but we have the same theme. And then, so when my students were done with their work, early finishers, they go to their project because they know the project is due at the end of the month, and they're going to be presenting the project to some audience. And we determine ahead of time who the audience is. Social studies, this is perfect for you. So if you have, for example, I did like, they have to research a country of their choice, and then they have to do so I would give them like some different categories I need for them to meet, and then some extras. I always put a connection, like I want you to put a connection of the US to this country. What's different, what's the same? Or for example, if they do a US president, I'm a big, you mentioned that I'm a US president's buff. I had my kids memorize all this different, not just memorize, but really get to know. For example, I had 20 students, They get to know number 1 to 20. So number 1, George Washington, that's your president. Okay. So number 16 is Abraham Lincoln, that is your president. And they have to research about their lives, and then they have to compare it to their lives. So for example, President Lincoln, he ran 9 times and lost, and he continued to run until finally he won. So that shows patience. So in my life, I've been very patient because I tried this sport and I keep failing, but then I finally succeeded, just like Lincoln did. Okay, so they would actually look at the character education part of it and compare their lives to that president, and that makes it more powerful, more, it connects to them. So they always remember that. The funny things about presidents, like one of the president, I think number 6, John Adams, and that is the son or grandson, no, son of the number 2, and number 2 guy, the John Quincy Adams. And then they this he was like swimming in the Potomac River, like close to where the White House was, and then somebody stole his clothes. So he had to ask somebody that stopped by, the little boy, you need to go to the White House and get me some clothes. So things like that happened. There was a president that was so big and he will not fit. Like he had to have a customized bathtub because he was so big. I don't remember which president that one was. But those are some things that are funny. It makes them giggle, because like, oh, did you know that president did this, whatever. Because if you make the students laugh, anything funny, they'll remember that. Okay, so anytime, humor is always a good thing that to hit them in the long term. Also, when you have them related with food. So when I have them to research about their favorite country, one of the requirements is that you have to cook something from that country. You have to bring us a dish that you can have everybody taste from that country. So we had like a multicultural food festival from the country of their choice. So somebody that studied Mexico was bringing Mexican food. Somebody Filipino, they're bringing adobo or something like that. And then we had this feast that we shared, and they have to label, their food. And then we have this little buffet thing, all you can eat thing. And so anyway, so you make it really, meaningful. When we did Japan, when I did a haiku poetry, then I brought a Japanese person to come in, and my friend Kay, and she came in and did a tea ceremony for us, and I covered the table. It's a short table, like a Japanese, thing. And then we did sushi that day. She cooked sushi with my kids, and because we did the shrimp where it's cooked, not the raw. And then we ate it. And these kids still remember at the end of the school year, at the end of the year, I would say, write 10 things that you remember from the school year. Those things where they had fun, they cooked, or they had a guest speaker, they'll remember those. Those are the things that they mention. Remember that time that we did a commercial? Dr. or Miss Merlina asked us to make a commercial because we were talking about persuasive speeches, persuasive, essay. And so I had them to write a commercial, for a local place or they could made up of dog food, and they would have their classmate pretend to be dog, and they would having this commercial. It's so funny. And they have to like wear a costume or props. And I had this videotaped and then, recorded. And then I showed it on the cable channel, which, at that time we're blessed that my husband and I owned a cable company. So he put us like in channel 99. And so we would put something on channel 99 pretty often, because I had videotape making. So things like that, you use what you have. It doesn't have to cost money. Okay. So anyway, so little things like that are the kids that would remember. And also in your interview, if you give examples like that, like I would do this. This is, role play. I'm big on role play. So this is what I would have the kids to do. I'm, research. I would want them to present to different audiences. I had them to present in different grades. And we did a puppet show one time, and we did it for kindergarten and first graders. So you have to think about your audience and what you're presenting, so that they know that, oh, we need to use simpler language because they are kindergarten and first grade. They cannot use the big words. So, that way I was able to use, integration across the curriculum. Okay, not just the content was not just English really. At that time, it was English when we, brown bear, what do you see? I see a whatever staring at me. And so they change it up to something. They change the animals or they change the situation. So they, it's creative things, but it was about writing. So I did it on writing, but then they did a presentation part of it. So anytime you do your project into a presentation level where they are actually presenting, that's good. That means that you have covered reading, writing, speaking, listening. You have addressed all 4 areas. Okay, that's always going to be a good lesson when you have the kids creating, not just for them, but maybe as a group first, so they will know, and then later on maybe a partner, and then later on by themselves. Like book report. Book report is usually boring, but when you have them present something on it, and I have them to put a trailer, if it's a popular one and there's a trailer on it, like, give me a link of the trailer, the preview of that movie that's coming up from that book, or give a five, like in my Amazon where they have star five stars. I want you to put the star rating on this book. What do you think this one is and why? You put things in real life and then you present it. And it's fun for them when you do that. So what are the things that you do in social studies that make it fun for your students?
Well, I remember something like that, Doc, that what you did when you bring something, when you teach about your topic was about IQ. There was a time when I was teaching Asian civilization and history. There was a time when our topic is about Chinese culture and tradition. I also did that. I asked my class to wear a Chinese costume, and they have to bring cup noodles in class and a chopstick, and really we really did that. And I even bought a heater or a kettle for to boil water inside the classroom so that I could pour water in their cup
Oh,
noodles, and they were
oh,
really they were really enjoying. And I think it really put a mark on their not just in their mind but in their heart that time, that we were
Yeah,
really laughing and using the chopsticks. And most of us were not able to use it well because we don't really have that kind of that opportunity to use that chopsticks
right.
every day because we have the spoon and fork. So that's one. And another thing also, when I thought about um Greek history, it was about the Roman, I mean the Spartans and the Athenians, and they have to have a role play. I divide the class into two, and they have to act it out. What's the characteristics of the Spartan people and versus the
Okay.
characteristics of the Athenians. So they
Yeah.
have both very different culture. The Spartans are the laconic people, and the warriors, and the Athenians are the scholars, and they have their kuano, their education, the academy. So they were really having a fun while doing the role playing.
Very
So
good.
that's just some of the things I did in
On your
history.
interview, I want you to use those as examples, okay? So the fun things
Mm-hmm.
that you did in your classroom, those are gonna give you points that others will not, because that would show me a preview of what your classes would be like. Okay, that, oh, this is not a boring teacher, this is a hands-on teacher. We want her, we want him. So those are some things that everybody should use examples like that. Some fun things that you have done or you've heard me say, and then you tried it in your classroom,
Mm-hmm.
things like
There
that.
was even a time, Doc, when I was teaching in University of San Jose Recoletos. I also taught in USJR for
That's
1 year, but then I resigned. I don't know. I was still young that time, so I resigned just for 1 year. I taught economics, and then I integrated bingo, the game bingo, in our
perfect.
class. So I let them make a bingo card, but I give them instructions on how to do it. But there's no number in there. It's just the word bingo. Then
Mhm.
under each letter, there are economic terms and concepts that they would choose from the 75 terms, and
Mhm.
they will be the one to choose the words that they will put under each letter. And then
Mhm.
I also prepared a lot of I prepared all those words. Then I we play the bingo mechanics and bingo game.
Mhm.
So every time they would have a straight 3 lines in their bingo, so they will have to have a points, but additional points will be given if they could explain the words that are
Perfect.
there.
You did
So
good.
that's
I
that's
like, I
also
like,
one thing that I also
yeah, good
that I
idea.
also
Yeah.
do.
Use that as an example. And now with technology, you actually have an app called Bingo Maker
Yes, yes,
that would
yes.
use bingo
Yes,
and would
yes.
do puzzle, and you can do jeopardylab.com, which you can make
Mm-mm-mm.
Jeopardy games of anything. And some people already made it there, and you can just create theirs or use theirs or edit
Mm.
it. There's some, so for technology, everybody, include especially social studies, you need to make sure you include apps and technology things.
Mm-mm.
Science also, simulations, and of course the English. There's a lot of different resources there for English. So math, there's also some things there. I'm limited on that, but there's also some math, like Khan Academy, for example, is a good example of, where they can get tutoring of different skills. So Khan Academy now not just covers math, but also other subjects. IXL.com is a really good one because it has, hundreds of skills, 300, 400, 500 skills of every grade that you can do, and it's free. I think it's free for so many days. You can do like a trial for 30 days or something, or 60 days, and then you can, when it's done, you can just use another another Gmail account, but so you don't have to pay that way, but you can have them to try it. And if your school can afford it, they could actually pay for membership, or subscription or whatever, membership where they would actually keep the records of your students, for good. So they have schools like that. But for you, for free one, you should try those things, okay? I think on that important links that I put down there, I think there are some links there of some apps that I have included. So make sure that to get that list, you need to make sure that you send me your resume and cover letter if you haven't yet, okay? McCullough@gmail. You have any question for me? I like that you said about a residency. If they ask you, some schools that are so new about hiring international teachers, they're going to ask you about, where you're going to live because they didn't know that you're
Yes.
supposed to help you. Go to Zillow.com, Zillow.com, or Realtor.com. All those will give you some, if you type the number, the place, it will show you the for rent places. And for course, if you're a J1 visa holder, you're not going to be able to buy properties. Mike is an H1B person, so he could actually buy properties here already because he's going to be on the path to green card. But the J1 folks, you cannot buy any real estate here at all. You can rent. And if you later on, you have that 2-year residency requirement, which means you have done your 5 years and you are required by the J1 program to go back to the Philippines for 2 years and teach what you learned. Okay, so to get out of the country for 2 years and then teach what you've learned about the J1, and then you can come back for, so many years again, 5 years again. But if you can convince your school, if they like you to apply H1B this time, then that's one way that you could actually stay here. So you have a green card, and green card at H1B is a limit of 6 years, but within that 6 years, you go ahead and apply for your green card, and that green card lasts for 10 years. And if you have already stayed here 5 years, you can actually apply for citizenship. And then you become a citizen and you're here forever. You get a passport, US passport, like I have. I became a citizen in 1990. I came in 87 and I got my citizen, no, 92, I guess. But anyway, so 5 years. But if you're married to an American soldier, a military, it's only 3 years. So you can take your test then. But anyway, those are some things that choices for you. And when you become a citizen here, then you lose your Philippine citizenship and you lose it automatically. Then if you want it back, you become a dual citizen, and you have to go to a Philippine embassy and get that paperwork. It's just a matter of paperwork. And then you become a dual, but then when you become dual, they don't really recommend you using the Philippine passport. They still want you to use the US passport because the US passport can actually take you to 200 countries or whatever where there's no visa. There's a visa waivers of everywhere, and we have a relationship with those countries, and you don't have to get extra visa if you have a US passport. So it's very powerful passport. Okay, so those are some things you might want to know because if you are being hired as a new teacher, I mean, if they've never hired anybody, you are pretty much the source of information because they don't know to help you with an apartment. And that's one of the questions you can ask too. Is there an apartment or houses for rent close to the school? Why that's important? Because if you live in a place like in Arkansas where, unless you live in a capital like Little Rock, there's so many places here like a provincia in ours, a province there in the Philippines where they don't have the public. Well, in province we have the public transportation, but here you don't. You have to have your own vehicle, so you have to drive. So I recommend everyone to learn driving before you come here. That would make your life easier, because then at first you have to take your driving test, the written part. After you pass that, then you have to pass the actual driving test before you get your license. A bunch of these teachers here, they came to my house and I actually taught them how to use my four-wheeler, the little mule thing that we use for farms, They practiced with that in my yard, and then after that they practiced with my car. Now that car has been bought by Mike. So the car, Mike, so many teachers have learned from that car. including Maria. She borrowed my car, and then I took her to her test, and then she passed that. And so she was so proud to see her license. And yeah, so there was a lot of folks that learned it here. But I would recommend that if you have any opportunity, it's so cheap in the Philippines to get like a driving instructor. It's expensive here. They would charge you $20 an hour, 500 pesos for every hour here. It's very expensive, but or more. But in the Philippines, you can get it pretty cheap, I think, right? So I would actually do that if I were you. And if you get an international license, I think, I don't know, Mike might know this, you can keep it for so many months. I think Myrna might know it too. Before you have to turn it into a US license. Mike, do you know about the international license? How long do you can have it? And
Yes po, Doc. It depends upon the state din po.
but in
Because
Arkansas,
here in Arkansas, you can use your Philippine driver's license for 3 months,
3 months.
but in
Okay.
other states, you can use only for 1 month.
Okay, so 3 months here. That's good. You would say Philippine instead of the international license? It would say Philippine.
For international po, Doc, international is good for 1 year.
1 year. Okay. So there is a difference between your Philippine license and it has to say international license. Then you can have it for at least a year. That way, by that time, you should already be able to pass your test here. Several of the local folks here, local kids, do not pass that right driver's test unwritten the first time. It usually takes 2 or more. I had a Filipino friend that took 8 times, and the 9th times finally she passed it. But of course, your teachers, you should not have a problem. She was like an elementary education in the Philippines. So, she also needed that, the English comprehension part. But we don't have that because we're teachers, right? So it should not take you that many times. But if you fail it the first time, do not feel too bad because that's pretty common because you don't know the format of the test. You don't know how to study it at first, so, but if you ask me, I'll be able to kind of give you hints, where you should study this numbers part, or you should study these rules and, all that. So anyway, so those are some things that to remember when you get here. If you're serious about coming, try to think about learning how to drive. Okay. Any question, Romela? Any more question?
Not so far, Doc.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying this Zoom meeting. So thank you so much, Doc, for
Good.
the
Thank you.
opportunity.
You shared a lot of great things. Thank you so much. I think I'm very
Yes, Doc.
confident
Thank
that
you
you
so
should
much.
do well. Yeah, you should do well on your interviews. Okay. And people have learned from
Thank you so
our
much.
conversation. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you,
So
Doc.
how about Himalayan. Oh, is that Hernalyn? Is that Hernalyn? Hernalyn Amabilis. Do you want to talk to us?
Yes, Doc.
All
Good
right. Good
morning.
morning. Love
Thank
your
you for
color of
having me
your
here.
outfit. That's really good. Wearing a solid color. And you will see my videos. I always wear like solid things because busy, like really busy, is not good. So when you do your interview, try to do solid colors. And if you have a busy background, especially, do a solid color. But I always say do a plain background, so that like yours. Yours is perfect. You have a solid color and you have a nice background. Okay, go ahead and tell us about
Thank
yourself,
you,
please.
Doc.
Uh-huh.
Thank you. Good morning, Dr. Merlina. Good morning, Sir Mike. Thank you for having me here. I'm Hernalyn M. Amabilis. I am a secondary social studies teacher here in the Philippines. I've been in the public school for 25 years. And currently, I'm holding a position of Master Teacher 2, handling 6 classes, and I am teaching grade 10 students. I am a graduate Bachelor in Education, major in Social Science at Philippine Normal University, and I have also finished my master's degree, um, Master in Education, major in Administration and Supervision. And currently, I have completed my academic requirement in my Doctor of Philosophy, major in Educational Management. The main reason why I wanted to teach in the USA because I wanted to um, experience teaching in a different educational setting. And of course, being a public school teacher here in the Philippines for 25 years, I guess I have gained a lot of knowledge that can contribute to the learning of the students there in the USA. And of course, teaching in the USA, I believe that it will help me to improve my craft as an educator and also not only professionally but also personally as an individual. I know that the experiences that I will gain there in the future would help me to improve myself as a person and as a professional. And I believe that as a teacher, my philosophy is I believe that every learner has their own unique intelligences, and it is the power of the teacher to nurture and to discover, of course, all these potentials and intelligences of the students. As a teacher for 25 years, I always make sure that on the first week of my um, um, on the first week of the school year, I really exert an effort to know my students. I prepared some activities to know them personally because through this, I could be able to make some strategies that would be relatable to them. And those relatable strategies could make to engaging lessons. As a social studies teachers, engagement in the classroom is very much important. Here in the Philippines, we are teaching Araling Panlipunan in Filipino. That's why I am not that confident in talking in English, but I'm doing my very best. I am teaching grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, and grade 10 students. I have experienced a lot teaching Araling Panlipunan, but I am now exerting my effort to know more about the American history, uh, the lessons. Actually, I do a lot of research, Dr. Merlina, before I started to pursue this application. I followed your YouTube channel since
Thank you.
September.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I have learned a lot from you, especially the important things that teachers must possess there in the USA. Number one is the knowledge of content.
Good
Number
job.
two is the knowledge of the students, the assessment, the collaboration, and the reflection.
Awesome.
That is the
Five core
time
propositions.
for
Awesome. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Good
yes,
job.
Dr. Marlene. So I'm doing my best to be prepared for an interview, maybe soon, and hoping that you can help me, Dr. Marlena. Actually, I have sent my application letter and my resume and my cover letter to your email
Did I answer you?
twice.
Because I always answer
Yes,
you. Okay. Okay.
yes, you answered me. I sent it last October, and I'm very happy because you answered right away and you gave me all the links. But it happened that my son got sick last year, so I was not able to focus on the
You okay now?
application.
You okay
But
now?
since it's okay now, so I decided to start again with the application.
Very good. I don't see any problem of you getting a job because, for one thing, congratulations on your doctorate. That's you are very
Thank
highly
you. Thank you.
educated. You're very fluent. You know all these strategies. When you said 25 years three times, I might change that one to like as a passionate teacher, as a dedicated teacher, instead of keeping because I don't want you to remind them how many years you have because
Ah,
they could
yes, yes,
out
that
their
would
your age. They might say, okay, so she graduated in her 20s, she's 25, she's about 45 years old. Some of them have age bias. Some of them might say, so in fact, I would say I have more than 20 years of experience. I wouldn't even say it exactly because some of them have age bias. They have to hire somebody, and a lot of them is a more of a misconception thinking that if you're an older, person that had so many years of experience, you may not be up to date to technology. You may not be accepting of technology. So for folks that have more than 20 years of experience, I would want you to mention that you are very up to date to technology about technology, about the upcoming and the new trends in technology, the apps and all this websites and online resources because that's something that they're going to be concerned about. So here we're hiring somebody from another country and they have all this experience. They have graduated a long time ago. And so they might not be aware or they might not be up to date on the trends of technology. So I would, you did a good job of mentioning research and you've mentioned, I love that you mentioned about the unique intelligences of students and you can add like multiple intelligences, the MI, Howard Gardner's MI, that you use those in order to customize your lessons. For example, when I did a certain project, I made sure that my students with with artistic intelligence. They did their project. They were the people that drew, and then people with verbal intelligence, the linguistic, and they were the ones that did the presentation. So they were able to actually show their strengths. And so in their group, they were able to show their intelligences and then showcase it during their presentation. So things like that. So when you did that, I love that you mentioned intelligences. That's awesome. And then the master teacher too, as an administrator here, they're not going to know what that is. So you might want to say master teacher two means that I have, what does it mean? What does master teacher two mean?
Master teacher to as of now, Doc, is the highest teaching position.
You say
We are
that.
also a teaching personnel. We are teaching a full load,
Mhm.
but we are also tasked to mentor the new teachers
Okay.
and lead the trainings.
Okay.
We are assigned as a resource person and also author of different instructional materials.
Okay, so you could say that you are like a lead teacher or a curriculum
Yes.
leader. You could say you're a curriculum leader, teacher leader. You could say it might be equivalent to a national board certified teacher. I am a national board certified teacher, and those are the 5 core propositions you mentioned: knowledge of students, knowledge of content, assessment, reflection, collaboration. Those are the 5 core propositions of national board. In America, there's about 10%. So for example, I think in Arkansas, there's 30,000 teachers, and there's about 3,000 that are national board. And 2 of them are my sister and I are national board. And we get like $10,000 more a year. So half a million pesos a year just because you are national board certified teacher, especially if you work in area where there's a lot of poverty, like where they're teaching Mike and them, that's very high in poverty, lots of poor kids there. And so they really need better teachers that have the experience and the credentials, the extra certification, because on top of taking the board exam, we also took the national board certification teacher, where we have to videotape our classroom, we have to send the analysis of it, we have to show student work and our analysis of it. So it's a really, it's I think 25% passing the first time. And we got lucky, we got blessed that we passed it the first time. But I felt like when I started helping others, I felt like, well, you know what? I did not learn as much as the others did because they learned from their mistakes. See, we got lucky and blessed that we passed it the first time. But when I start helping, I learned more about the process. So I felt like they're more learned than me, because they have experienced the failure and knowing how I need to fix it. And so to me, that's what you could say. Master 2 means that we are at the top of that peak, whatever. And it's like a national board certification in the US. You can say that, and people would understand that part. Okay. Or a curriculum leader
Better than
teacher.
this.
Yeah. Curriculum teacher that's a lead teacher, something like that. So usually a curriculum leader is a principal, but so if you say curriculum leader, but as a teacher that is a curricular leader, with the supervision of the principal, then they would understand what that means, because they would not know master teacher here at all. Okay. So that's always good to specify what that is. You also said something about the Filipino, something about the language. What was that? Filipinas something, Aralin, what was it?
Araling Panlipunan.
Araling Panlipunan,
Here,
which is
Doc, in the Philippines, social studies is Araling Panlipunan, and we are teaching Araling Panlipunan in our native language.
okay, very good. You have to explain that, okay? And because Panlipunan means society, right? And then
Yes,
Aralin means to study. So the
Study.
societal study in our language.
Yes.
So being
Yes.
in our native tongue, you can say that. But then so I know you're humble and you say that I'm not confident. Please don't say that. They're gonna see that in your action. You are confident. Okay. So I know in the Philippines we have this humble bragging going on. My kid says that all the time. She's, Mom, you humble brag again. We are humble, but then we really are also, but I know you're not saying that, but my son accuses me of that. But but yeah, don't do that. Be confident, because you should be confident. You got your highest education, you got your highest position, and then you have all this knowledge. Okay. So I would rather have you prove it with your words and your actions and your examples than saying I am not, because then it's like, is she really? I mean, like they always have this saying that if somebody tells you the truth, you pay attention to it. That's not the truth for you. So yeah, don't own that, okay? Because they will see that
Thank
in
you, Doc.
yeah. 70% of our communication is nonverbal. and your nonverbal is very obvious that you are confident. Okay, so I know you know. So, but thank you for being humble. And that I better actually that's better than saying, "Oh yeah, I'm so good" or whatever, you know. And that's the opposite. But yeah, I'm very confident that you should, you know, you should do well. Have you had any interviews yet?
This is the first time, Doc.
Oh, okay.
Actually, this is the first
You
time.
do well. It's like you are visiting with me, and that's what it should be. That's how you know you have a very good interview. If you're not like just looking at notes or whatever, and you're actually talking back and forth with me. It's like playing tennis or pickleball. You know, I hit one and you hit one back and forth. You know, if you do that, you have a good interview. There's no
Thank
awkward
you.
moment. It's very smooth, you know, big, no transition whatsoever. You just go back and forth with me. And that is a, you know, like badminton, I guess, too. But anyway, so yeah, something like that. So you know that, okay, if you have to self-reflect and like, well, how did I do in the interview? Did I just visit back and forth? Then I did well. Okay. And you feel free to ask questions, you know. And I love that you would take notes and if they tell you something and you take notes, that's very serious. As an interviewer, I would say, good stuff, you know, because you are actually taking this seriously. You know, you're serious about this. And that's always good. You know, because we have people that we interview and they would take notes and in my book, it's always like, oh, good, you know. So yeah, that's not bad. And you know, one of the things that you might take notes is when they introduce themselves and say, okay, I'm Dr. Marlena McCullough, I am the curriculum director. I'm Mr. Smith, I'm the principal, and so is the HR or human resources. You need to put their names and their title under there. So when you address them, you say, hi, principal so and so, you know, I want to ask you this or whatever. So thank you, principal so and so. You know, you can do that. You know, you can call them with their names or last name because in America, they're not formal actually. They're like me, I would rather be called Marlena than Dr. McCullough or whatever, or you know, Ellen. Ellen is my nickname. So like Maria would call me Miss Ellen, you know. And so the ones that are closer to me, they would actually call me with first name, although some people are still used to say doc. You know, Mike, I think does that too. And I said, Merlada is okay. But you know, in our culture, we are more formal. Like, you know, what really shocked me because I was educated in the US, right? And I had education in the Philippines as a student, not as a teacher. And so when they came here, and I'm like, you live in the same house and you're calling each other sir this and mom this. And I'm like, why are you doing this? And that's just normal in our culture. But that's very surprising for us in America because we don't just do that in your colleague. And I think Mike and Myrna and all this Erwin can say that when you are working with your colleagues, you say each other's name. You know, you call me Marlena, I call him Mike and all this. And notice that I'm very informal like that because I would rather have you get used to that. There is such thing as some people are more formal, the administrators, that they would rather be called that, and they will say that to you. But you know, they will say that like when they introduce themselves or whatever. But a lot of times, maybe I want to say 80 to 90%, they would rather be informal. Like it's more collegial, it's more like how the relationship is closer when you're saying the first names, you know. So not very many would call the last name. Do you agree, Mike? That they'd rather have the informal way, like closer to the
Yes, Udo.
yeah.
Yeah. I used to address the teachers there, Miss, Mr.,
Mm-hmm.
Coach, ma'am. I only call Miss more as mom.
Yeah, because that's the principle. Yeah, coach is very normal to say coach, you know, Coach Roca. That's very normal to people who say that because they always use the word coach with coaches. Very normal. Like with your superintendent, Dr. Poole, I love so much. I go with Dr. Poole. Sometimes it's weird for me because I always call her Brenda, you know, because we've been friends for years. So I would say, hey, Brenda, let's go have lunch or whatever. But sometimes when there's a lot of people or whatever, then I would call her Dr. Poole, you know, because it's much more formal. She's the superintendent of the school, you know, so things like that. You just have to know the context, I guess, when, you know, but in your interview, pay attention to what they call themselves, you know, and that's what you would call, right? So if they say Dr. So and so, you know, or I would research it because sometimes they would not say doctor, but they really are doctor. And some of them are more sensitive about that. You have your doctorate, Hernalin. So you know, some of them are more sensitive, like I work so hard on this, so I want to be called doctor. And you know, some of them would say like, you know, I just learned little more, but you know, you don't have to put that in there. I put it on mine just because I am the host. I'm the host. I mean, the founder of this, and I want people to know that who I am. But normally, I would just put Marlena And on my email, although my signature in the bottom has all the title thing, I always put the word Marlena, before that because that's a different cultural thing here. And in fact, one of my professors at the ASU at Kansas State was saying to us, "Do not put doctor in your checks. Do not." I said, "So I cannot put my doctor on my tombstone." So anyway, I said, so it's a no. If you are gonna go with the leadership of Jesus, which is a servant leadership style, it's not Dr. Jesus. It's just Jesus, right? So it's very much plain, but it's a personal choice. How about you, Hernalyn? How do you want to be called? Do you like to call doctor, or do you want your last name? How do you get called in the Philippines?
Actually, Doc, I am not confident to be called doctor.
Why not?
It's okay for me to be called just on my first name. Actually, in our school, they usually call me Mom Jinky because Jinky is my nickname.
Okay.
So some of my students don't know my first name. They just call me Mom Jinky.
Oh, well, that's
And
fine.
the
Yeah.
same with my colleagues, they usually call me Mom Jinky.
It's closer, actually. We have I remembered, I observed teachers that would call their students with their last name. Hey, Mr. Smith, and these are elementary kids, right? Mr. Smith, so and so, and that's a style. Some teachers prefer that. And I always believe in freedom. If that's what they want, I'm not going to make you do something else. That's what makes you happy, do it. But everybody's different. So just kind of pay attention to that when you get interviewed. Pay attention to what they call themselves. I'm Dr. So and so, or sometimes they would say students and teachers will call me this. Sometimes they would share that. But the bigger the school, the more that they want the doctor in there. Like if you are interviewed by the capital, for example, Little Rock, it will be safe for you to call that doctor because they're gonna be called that because of how big the school is. So and that's what I noticed anyway. But of course, it's a personal choice again. Okay. So anyway, so
Yes.
the point is that to pay attention to that at the end also, when you finish with your interview, you should always thank them. Thank you for, taking the time to interview me. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed our visit, something like that. And then I have one question for you, and you ask them a question. Always ask them a question. Okay, even if it's just a PD question, a professional development question, but not the money. But then also, then when you get done, you send them an email. Whoever has contacted you for the interview, send them an email. I want to thank you so much for, whatever. So I'm looking forward to hearing from you and all that, because that opens a conversation up where they would have your email in their inbox and then they will have to answer you. And so in all probability, they would say, oh, we already hired somebody or whatever, But then a lot of them would say, we put you in the candidate pool, so you may get interviewed on another position. We already found somebody for this position, but we will put you in our pool. Big schools would say that because you will be in the pool where they already interviewed you, they already put notes about you, and then the principals will just pick it up. Like, okay, so they had seen notes from the interview, and then they will pick you up and just interview you again. So yeah, so that's very normal to see. Okay, so you go to www.schoolspring.com, just no S, just schoolspring, one word, .com, and you will register and then apply to all the different states. You can filter it by states if you want. If you have a preference of state, if you go to a map of the United States, Google it, US map, and then you go look at the southern part, like Arkansas down, those are the warmer states. So those are states like ours where you don't get much snow. If you go Missouri and up, like Iowa is part of it, Missouri and up, all the way to like North Dakota, South Dakota, they are frozen. You're gonna get frozen. You're gonna be so cold. On the northeast side, like when New York, New Jersey, all the Maryland, all that, they're gonna be so cold as well. Okay. And so Alaska will be the coldest. So if you like cold, go to Alaska. And so Hawaii, California, and Florida will be the climate like the Philippines. So if you really like the Philippine climate, go to California, with the hiring thousands of teachers there. California, Hawaii, and Florida. Those are my three favorite states because I could have garden there all year long. My daughter lives in Hawaii. I was so jealous when I went down there for 2 weeks because I'm like, oh, she was pineapple, plants, and you're having pineapple, and she had little lemon trees full of lemons and all this, banana plants and all these fruits. We can't do that here. We have to bring it in, or you have to have like a greenhouse and you put it in. Like I have a lemon tree and I put it in every year, I put it in my house. Otherwise, they're gonna die. So yeah. So do you like cold weather or hot weather?
The same weather here in the Philippines, Doc. I
That's what
prefer
you want.
in
So
Florida,
go.
California, or Hawaii.
Okay, California, Florida, Hawaii, and also Texas. Texas is also hot. Yeah.
Okay.
Arizona is hot. Arizona, when I went to Arizona the first time, I felt like I was in an oven. It's so hot, especially when I went in the summer. So yeah, Arizona is hot. And then of course, the other states here would be Oklahoma, and then Oklahoma would be a lot of Native Americans in there. And then, so there's a lot of like reservation, like, for a bunch of Native American students there. And then in North Carolina, South Carolina, they're good by the beach. So if you want closer to the beach, you're gonna, look at the United States and look at where the Atlantic Ocean is and where Pacific Ocean is and what states there are. Pacific Ocean, of course, will be Hawaii. And then the beaches here are not as clear as the Atlantic Ocean is not as clear as Pacific. But if you go to Destin, Florida, so if you happen to apply in Florida, Destin would have the best beaches. Those are my favorites, really white sand and yeah. But if you go to other parts, they're not as clear. But Destin does, yeah. But anyway, so those are the information you might want to know if you want to choose which state. Okay. Did you say you've sent me your resume and cover letter? You said that, right?
Yes, yes, Doc. I
Yeah, I
have
sent you
sent
the link.
earlier
Okay.
the
All
second
right.
one.
Well, good luck, and I hope that you do because you will do an interview. You will do well on the interview. Have you watched the Josephine video on my YouTube? If you haven't, find that.
I haven't seen it yet, Doc.
Yeah.
I follow all your Zoom meetings actually
Okay.
since
Yeah.
the Zoom meeting
This is 89, I
last
think now.
year.
Yeah, so they have a Josephine video 1 and 2 because those are videos that Maria and I made where I interviewed Josephine and she did so well on her answers and I commented on her answers. So you will get an idea of what a good answer should be. And we use different questions that are commonly used, like addressing, angry parents. How do you do that? Your unmotivated children that don't want to do work. And how about children that misbehave? What do you do? How do you get along with colleagues and all this? So what would you do if a colleague is hard to deal with or get along with? How do you handle that? So different things like that. You need to know those possible questions. Okay. All right.
Yes.
So we're gonna close. So thank you so much for sharing all that you did.
Thank you. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
I will predict that you will be here before I know it. It's gonna be quick. You have your education and all that stuff, and fluency. So yeah. Okay. Good
And
luck.
thank you so much, Doc.
Yeah, and I hope your son continues to feel better. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. So who's next, Mike? Do we have I know we are about to close in about
Yes
yeah.
po. I think Sir Wilson, Sir Erwin's
Wilson de la
friend
Cruz.
wants
Okay.
to reintroduce himself again.
Sounds good. Yeah. If it's been a long time, you need to do it. Wilson.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I think this is just a introduction as what
I remembered you.
Sir Mike.
Yeah.
Yes,
I remembered your face. Yeah.
it was, I think, 3 months ago when I introduced myself here in
Okay.
the same meeting. But there are some slight changes. I am now taking up my doctorate degree in educational management. I have just enrolled.
Nice.
Yes, Doc, and the semester had just started. Just to give you a review or a recall of my accomplishments, I am a Master's of Education graduate, major in English. My bachelor's degree is Bachelor of Secondary Education, major also in English.
Okay.
I've been teaching in public school since 2013. This is my 12th year in the public school. In the public school, I handled grade 10 English and grade 9 English when I was in junior high school. But when I was transferred in senior high school, I handled oral communication in context, reading and writing skills, practical research, and now I have given another new subject to discuss, which is English for academic and professional purposes. As a teacher, I believe in the philosophy of student-centeredness because I believe that the sole purpose of our existence as a teacher lies in the existence of our students. So we have to make sure that their needs are looked into, their learning styles are taken into consideration because every student needs a teaching strategy that would best fit his or her needs so that we could improve her, his or her abilities, and of course, we could teach him or her the love of learning. And as a teacher, I have handled different types of learners that have taught me and have molded me to what kind of teacher I am right now. But beyond the four corners of the classroom, I've been I handled different groups of students as well. I've been in the dance group, I've been in the media arts group, I've been coaching journalism, particularly sports writing. But now another new challenge came up. The Boy Scout coordinator of the Philippines was assigned to me, but it's quite challenging. But since I am more familiar with handling students, it's pretty easy. And of course, the benefit of being in the scouting movement is beneficial because I encounter different groups of people. I handle different types of students, especially in teaching them the love of free service and community outreach programs.
Mm-hmm.
That's all, Doc.
Very good. Very
I
comprehensive.
didn't. Yeah, I haven't. I didn't expect that Sir Mike would call me.
Well, it's obvious that you are an English teacher. You're very, yeah, you just talk like a native. And I love that you are starting your doctorate. Congratulations. That's not a very easy process. So yeah,
Doc.
it's a long process. How long is a doctorate degree there? How many years in the Philippines?
In the school that I've enrolled to, it's only 1.5 semester, and we could take our dissertation. So if I would be lucky, 2 years. But
Okay.
hopefully, Doc, I would not be able to finish this year here in the Philippines because I'm been praying that 2025 will be my year
Okay.
to finally
Yeah.
be in the USA.
You say dissertation there? It says dissertation here. Dissertation. So dissertation in ours? Yeah, it's dissertation here. But anyway,
Okay,
but
Doc.
that's quick though, because in ours, in mine, I had to take 2 years of courses and then plus my dissertation. So it was like at least 3 years.
Okay.
Oh, I've got biscuit there. Anyway, you have taught grade 10, and I love that
Yes,
you
Doc.
mentioned oral communication and the journalism. That's one thing that they're going to ask you. Have you handled journalism? Because it's English. And what they're going to do here is they're going to give the newest teacher the journalism. Everybody wants to get out of that. So if you're the new teacher, expect that they might give it to you like the year
Yeah.
where they do the yearbook. Yeah. And so I love that you said something about the students taught you, because it's always important for the teachers to say that I'm not just teaching the students, I'm also learning from my students.
Yes, Doc.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you said about Boy Scout coordinator. So here in the US, the Boy Scout coordination is a voluntary thing. It's not like you're made by the school. You're not like
Ooh.
told by the school that you are going to be this. It's going to be a volunteer thing. And you also said about the importance of free service and volunteer by students. That's a good thing to mention.
Yes, Doc.
So I think you're going to do well on this interview because you know the fluency is there and your knowledge.
Hopefully, Doc.
Yeah. So good luck. Have you applied on like on www.wholeschoolspring.com?
Yes, Doc. I've been doing that since November last year. I think I've applied to 100 plus schools.
Have you had any interviews at all? Have you had any interviews?
My first interview will be on the 15th of February, and the next
Good
will be on
luck.
25th.
Good luck. If you want me to practice with you, just let me know. Email me and we will practice.
Yeah, sure, Doc. That's very, very thoughtful of you.
Yeah, we are 13 hours behind you. So like right now, if it's 10 o'clock here, what time is it there?
Nah.
What is it?
It's 12
Oh, so
12
2
midnight
hours.
here in the
So,
Philippines.
yeah. So you just go back like for example, if it's 12, you minus 2 and then make it from night to day. That's what you do. Okay? So that's in order, or you can just Google it.
That
Convert
would be great, Doc.
Philippine time to US time, and we are CST Central. Okay, so that's it. And so thank you so much for practicing and coming back on. So yeah, continue to apply, because the more that you apply, the better. And then this link that I sent over here, it's got the multiple listings, the job postings from all the 50
Yes, Doc.
states. You might want to check that out too.
I will
Okay?
definitely check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Appreciate you. All right. Good luck. Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
Yeah. Thank you.
See you soon.
Yeah. I hope so. Hopefully, right? Yeah. All right. So
Very
Mike,
positive.
thank you. Bye-bye. So Mike, we need to end it up because we need to eat breakfast.
Yes
So
po, it's already 10.
I know
And
that's
it's
what I'm
already
saying.
12 in the Philippines.
So we
Yes.
need to close up. Is there somebody else that really need to talk before we go? Is there somebody that, apply up in here because they want to talk? I need to give them a chance. Is there somebody here? If we already talked to everybody, we'll just, looks like Jocelyn left. Okay. Well, anyway, so I guess you'll just have to come back if you didn't get to talk and you want to talk because we have reached the deadline. I mean, the time limit because the
It's
kids are
already 12.
okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone. And I appreciate it. Look for the videos. It's going to be the recorded video of the Zoom. Hi, Myrna. Okay. Was that Mabel or that Myrna?
No,
Yeah.
Ma'am Mirna po.
This is
Oh, Myrna,
Myrna,
you're
though.
in the same place. Okay, got it. Okay, you're visiting
We
each other.
transported from one place.
I did not know that you're visiting with each other. Okay. All right. See you later then. Okay. I'll see you in
Yes po,
Brinkley.
yes po.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I don't go back till February the 6th. I only go once a month now. Okay. All right.
Thank you po.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you for
Thank
attending.
you, Doc. Thank you, Doc.
Okay.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
Doc.
Bye-bye po.
God bless.
God bless.
God bless.